Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
So,
what's up?
How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Doing well.
How's the pad?
Still largely unfurnished, but that should change next week, hopefully.
Nice.
August is almost over, so it's the summer's almost over, man.
Thank God.
School's about to be
So
back
hot
in
here.
session.
School is my kid's been in school for like 4 weeks now.
Oh wow, man, does he get earlier? Do they like end in the middle of May or something?
He gets like 2 weeks for fall break, 2 weeks for spring, 2 weeks for winter. Like it's like a year-round school. They just get more breaks in the middle.
Got it. All right. I used to love a big long summer break.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice like 12-week break when I was a kid, 10 weeks or whatever it was.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, today is August 26th, Friday, and welcome to the crossover. So, first of all, mail days. Do you have any mail days?
I do not.
Oh, nice. I have one. I've already posted it to Instagram, so we'll make it very quick. First mail day to the Dallas abode is the I guess that doesn't. Let me do it this way.
There you go.
Is the 2019 premium stock NBA City Black Luka 1 of 1. And the backside is funny. Billed as America's first shopping center, Highland Village in Dallas opened in 1931. And arriving in town in 2018, Luka Doncic is a one-stop shop for basketball skills. So,
Premium stock, man.
premium stock.
What does that mean?
That is a spin-off product of Hoops. And it's basically the same cards in Hoops. Just kind of like how like what Optic is to Don Russ. Premium stock tries to be the Optic to Hoops. It's not as prestigious as Optic with respect to Don Russ, but it's like a chromium version of the Hoops product. It had a 1-year run, and it's cool. I like that. I especially like the NBA City insert. So
the NBA City insert is only in premium stock?
Nope, it's in regular Hoops as well. Actually, once upon a time, I was like buying every Luka Hollow I could find of NBA Hoops, NBA City, and like $30, $50 raw. I think they go for about $1 raw today. That just didn't really, I completely was off on that one. But I think that Hoops premium stock coming out really diluted the supply of those because it just like created a bunch more copies of the NBA City insert. But I've been looking for this card forever. It's like I think it's my favorite Luka insert ever made. And there's only one of one across both products. I've talked about it on the crossover before. And then 610 Sports Cards, Justin found it in a story post from Burbank Sports Cards and sent me the link. And then I bought it quickly, and then it showed up just in time for mail day.
Beautiful story.
Yep.
I mean, dude, we've been lacking on these kinds of stories. People asked us last week, like, what kind of content are you looking for? This, like, people finding each other cards you've been after for a while. You've got some sort of story or connection to why you wanted it so bad, and then landing it. You know, like there's been a big shortage of that kind of stuff happening. I'm not sure what the reason is. Probably just money. You know, people want too much, or we're not finding stuff as much. I'm not sure.
Cards are very expensive. Mail days are gonna be fewer and far between. All right, that's it for mail. Well, I guess we have one other mail day. We went to SMP Sports Cards, which is a card shop in Grapevine, Texas today, on the recommendation of Jeremy Allen of Collectors League. And in fact, even bumped into him on our way out. And we bought two boxes.
Total coincidence, right, Jeremy?
And we bought 2 boxes. First box we bought was Prism Hobby from this year. And
Nice.
then the second box we bought was 2018 Cornerstones. So these boxes apparently have...
Do not put my eBay gift card on.
Is there any information on it?
The fucking number, the redemption code is right there.
Oh, you better spend that money.
I know, fucking...
And let's clean up the language, okay? All right, so 6 cards per box. This is what I was looking for. So these have 6 cards per box, and yeah, I don't know. I'd never even seen one of these boxes before, so we bought that too. So, and we bought supplies. Adam Lefko's favorite, supplies. So, what's gonna hold up better over time? That card saver 1 box or Prism?
You're gonna need all those card saver ones for all that wax that Christina posted.
Yeah, we have not. We just didn't open it. That's all just like residual boxes from visits to card stores that just we bought it, we went home, we put it up, and then we just never opened it. Oh man, the chat is feisty tonight. I've been ignoring the chat.
They're very feisty.
Oh, I can't even read a lot of this stuff. All right. Well, apologies in advance to anybody who's watching this on the replay. Okay, let's get to some questions. News and updates. Do we have any news and updates to discuss this week?
Yeah, I launched one thing. Well, a couple things. So like on sales history, we're kind of shifting the focus now away from the sale value and more towards what the card sold for. I heard from a lot of dealers and people using the app as dealers that are kind of like feeling like they want to be able to negotiate more in terms of the sold price and the sold date and let them use that as their negotiation, and less in the sale value. But they like the sale value as just an extra data point. So we've kind of shifted the focus more towards what actually happened, which is the sale price. We still have the sale value. But then the other change is if you go to your account, there's this new setting here where you can actually just like straight up hide the sale value on sales history. So if I go back to that card, you'll now see that that's gone. So this is like, it's not meant to hide any data necessarily, but it's kind of like an extra thing for dealers if they want to like negotiate strictly on sold price and sold date. This is something for them really. I've been working with a lot of dealers recently on the app because we've been getting more adoption from that side of things versus just the collector. And I want to help those guys out, give them extra tools to help. I know we've gotten a lot of card shops kind of saying similar things. So card shops, dealers, if you guys want more help with the app, the sales history stuff is really more geared towards you guys. And so I want to be able to bolster those features. So if you guys have any other ideas like that, let me know. That one came from MC Sports Cards. I've been working with Mike a lot. And then also Jordan Riker helped me come up with the idea for the specifics of that. So shout out to those 2 guys for helping me out.
Nice. Yeah, for Jordan Riker, I have this shirt on for you, bud.
Yep. You're not allowed to wear that, apparently.
That's for you, Jordan. Yeah, I think just quick comments on this and our sort of slight philosophical change here. The hobby as a whole has swung too far in the direction of algorithms telling people what to think about things. And I think it's a mistake to substitute an algorithm for a collector's judgment. Algorithms can only utilize previously occurred events and data points to project future ones, whereas a collector can make a split-second decision that is influenced by emotion, it's influenced by sentimentality, it's influenced by things that are difficult to project based on aggregating pre-existing data. So there's something to be said for leaving collectors, dealers, buyers, and sellers the space to negotiate without a price, stabbing them in the eye that's based on an algorithm.
Yeah.
And the feature is still available, but now the card letter value is positioned in a place that strongly suggests that it's a tool as opposed to a definitive statement of value. And I think that's symbolically what we're striving for. So hopefully people enjoy that small aesthetic update, and we look forward to feedback on that.
And then I also launched some new stuff on the app. I've been working on the app a lot this week, specifically on like performance updates, making the app a little smoother, but I also added the ability to filter sales history by date. So you can now say, you've been able to do this on the site, I just didn't add to the app. So that's on the app now. And then this setting is also on the app, and that should be live today.
That's sick. Oh man, I'll have some fun with that for sure. Okay, those are great updates.
I needed it for I use it for my weekly updates, when I do my updates after big auctions, because I'll filter by after, like if the auctions end August 20th, like if PWCC ends August 20th and then Golden was August 22nd or whatever.
Yep.
I'll do after August 17th, and I'll sort by price so that I can analyze both of those two auctions and filter out all the old ones, and I can still get price at the top.
Sure, definitely. Okay. All right, let's get to some questions. There was an enormous amount of questions this week, and some really smart ones too. But this question is actually a continuation of a theme from last week. This comes from Kobe Rookie Chase, who I will read his question in full. He says, been loving consuming your evolving content from the Cardboard Chronicles and House of Jordan's days until now. Wow. I've been back in the hobby for 3 years and plan on sticking around long term. However, I'm going on an island vacation with my family for a month of September. Must be nice to own an island. And I plan on having a complete hobby break. I'm thinking it might do good to clear the mind and reset hobby plans and goals. Do you guys ever take or plan to take a hobby vacation? I know you're working in the thick of it, but maybe a week or two break, could it provide some added clarity and recharge the battery? So I think this is pretty clearly a question inspired by some of the commiserating that happened last week. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea, great in theory, but when you run the business and there's only like 4 of us, it's a little more difficult than that. If we walked away for a day, people would notice. I would love to, but I think, like, speaking to the heart of the question, like, should people take a break? And if you're ever feeling like that, you should take a break, Just, that's usually the sign that it's time to take a break, when you're questioning yourself.
Yes, quite right. Quite right. All right. Next question here from Vinny Slabarino. He says, what's up, Dio? $20 Hoj MJ email subscribers, stand up. Yep.
I like how card ladder is cheaper than what you used to charge people.
It was not $20. It was less.
You huckster. Wasn't it like $5?
I thought I think it was definitely less than 20.
It was $10.
10. It was 10.
10.
It was 10.
We've come a long way. Like, we've increased the amount of content and tools we provide by like 100x, and we've raised the price by 33%.
Exactly. I'd say come a long way is an understatement. Okay. Vinny Slabarino says, props to Card Ladder for its kaboom or bust feature in PSA Magazine this week. And really props to Jack Archer, editor of PSA Magazine, for the editorial content there. He says, it reminds me of a modern version of the old Beckett Magazine's hot and cold list that I grew up on. So what do you want to say to that, Josh? You've worked very closely with Jack on Card Ladder's appearances and features in the PSA Magazine, which is, obviously one of the most important publications of the hobby. You want to comment at all to Vinny?
I would love to take more credit for Kaboom or Kabust, but I don't have much of anything to do with that. The marketing team uses the app to come up with the cards that they feature in it, but they're not using anything fancy on my end or anything tech related. They're just using the app like everybody else. But the content itself is really, I think it's really fun. I agree with Vinny. It does remind me of like old Beckett stuff, and they usually do a pretty nice job of refreshing it and coming up with new cards to feature and making it kind of a fun topical thing based on what's going on in the world.
Indeed. Okay. Another question on PSA Magazine, this one from Lingua Sports Cards. How are cards organized in the PSA Magazine? It seems to be a random list for each player.
It is only random in the sense that we put every card in there that we possibly can from our own data set that you guys verify. So it's just all of our verified cards. And I basically pull every card possible with a couple restrictions, like it has to have an updated value in the last couple years. It has to have a couple PSA grades because it's only PSA, and a couple other random things. Like we exclude a couple players that aren't as interesting just to minimize it as much as we can. But it's not super random. I feel like it's pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah. Yep. Fair enough, though. It's a list that's limited to what we have coverage over.
I think it feels random because it's not sorted in the traditional sense of in order of year of the set. Like people are used to saying magazines and saying 48 Bowman, 57 Tops. So it feels random in the sense that it's not organized that way. But I think they want to switch to that away from the player organization. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but there's discussion on that. So
sure. Yeah, and we are working with PSA to build out certain sets that are in high demand. Shout out to Christina, Kyle, and Joel, who each are working on one of those sets individually on the card letter team.
Yeah, 1915 Cracker Backs, 1933 Gowdy, and 1933 Sport Kings are what we are working on these weeks.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good for us, honestly, as a card letter team to focus on some of the stuff that might be featured in something like the PSA magazine, because it kind of puts us into more of the vintage baseball stuff, like vintage basketball, and it's good to see us add some of that kind of stuff.
Totally. But personally, I am in favor of the methodology of sorting by player. Personally, I like that better. I totally understand many people in this hobby collect by set. I don't. I collect by player. And many people in this hobby collect by player as well. So I think there is a space in the hobby for a listing technique that is both set-based, if that's the way you want to do it, and is player-based, if that's the way you want to do it. I would even venture to say that among my contemporaries and peers, many of which are emerging from the 1990s and later, in terms of collecting when they first started collecting, far more of us collect based on player than based on set. So in defense of the organization.
Mikey the Breaker makes a good point. He said markets move by player too. A lot of the way that you and I, at least, the way we analyze things and the way the card ladder is structured is also by player. We put a big emphasis on player indexes. So if you are interested in just to be completely honest with you, the card ladder search is going to just have all of that data anyway. So just go to card ladder, search player, go to the index, and just kind of go nuts with it, because you can get lost just in researching, cards that we verify and don't verify just based on players.
Yep, definitely. And since we're on the topic of sort of PSA related editorial content, there was a question that came in, but I think I've neglected to include it in the list, but I remember the gist of it. I just don't remember who asked it. The question was basically, I do remember who asked it. It was Card Shop Dad. And the question was, I think he wanted you and me each to pick, God, David, just stop. All right. Well, what's this new, David's all about this new fantasy site. Maybe we shout out that fantasy site. He'll just chill. Underdog, I think it's called. Or best bet.
He's in
best bet.
Best ball. He's in 74 leagues.
Oh. I'm just going to need you to chill, man. All right. So, but Card Shop Dad had a question that came in that was all about the top 100 cards paraded at the National, and he wanted each of us to pick our favorites. And so I have the list pulled up here. Sorry, Lillian, for that close zoom. Okay, so these are the top 10. The Trout, the Shayway.
That one.
The dual logo man. Okay, Josh is.
Not for the authentic. Fucking hell, man. How many times I gotta yell at people about this authentic bullshit? Why didn't they grade the autos?
God, they should have. At least authentic 10 auto, right? I mean, that's.
Well, the Jordan goes. The Jordan's fine. It would be a 10. God damn.
The Jackie PSA 748 Leaf, the Jordan Masterpiece from Ultra 1 of 1. I'm merely a owner of the 100 prints. This is the real masterpiece. So glad that got clarified. The 99 Pokemon game Charizard Hollow, first edition. 66 Topps Hank Aaron, and I believe this is the last. No, one more. We got the Rock Superfractor. I just feel obligated to shout out Brett from Stacking Slabs. Don't really know why. And then 2020 National Treasures Burrow 1 of 1. Those are the top 10. Here's my pick for the best card. And to me, it's not even particularly close. This is one of the most important cards ever made. And
the Trout?
It's the 2009 Bowman Chrome Superfractor Autograph 1 of 1 Mike Trout. And it's a PSA 9 Auto 10. Just the only possible way there could be a better modern baseball card is if this was graded a 10-10.
Dude, what are you thinking? Put your brain into the brain of the person on that card who had it in a BGS 9.5 and they crossed it to a PSA 9.
It was a BGS 9.
It was a BGS 9? Never mind. I take everything back.
But, yeah. Oof, it was a BGS 9.5. I own BGS 9.5s and have no desire to take that risk.
It's clearly worth more now. My two are the two Logo Man autos. I think there's a LeBron Kobe and a Jordan LeBron. That's crazy. I mean, you don't see those ever. So to see two of them graded in one show. You know what I always think of when I see this list? People were walking around that motherfucking place with all these cards in their backpacks, and we had no idea. Like, there's just people walking around with these cards. There's a 101 Dirk rookie. Did you see that one?
My second. This is my second. Was that
card is just walking around?
Dude, this is a rookie year masterpiece.
Authentic.
Dirk. Like, wow, dude. And it's authentic. Come on.
Take your PSA 4 like a man. This is a challenge for you. It's hard to make a man.
Exactly. Take your PSA 4. Take your medicine.
Those are the only two that I can remember like really standing out. But there's definitely others. But there was a green penny. There was a PSA 10 gold refractor. 2003 LeBron. Some nice stuff in there, obviously.
Yeah, that gold LeBron was in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't think so. It was a cross from a BGS 9.5.
Wow. Oh my God, there is a green penny. Wow, there's actually some like crazy, what?
That's the 1 of 100. It was a BGS 7 from Grant. That's the 1 of 100.
So sick.
So guess what? I now have a Pop 2 PSA 4 penny green. We have the same grade.
Nice. This is a cool card.
Scans look amazing, right? The scans look really good.
Yeah, the scans look great. The editing looks great. The little shadow, the against this sort of like off-white background. The presentation is gorgeous.
Yep. You know what? I like that they did one card per row too, because if you do like 4 in a row, it kind of muddies it up, and this puts a lot of focus on the individual cards.
Let each card shine.
That one right there.
Yeah. Whew. That is a beaut.
That's a sick card.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Just like
dead last.
Banger after banger, all these cards, man.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, this is sick too.
Hey, isn't that Luber?
It may be. I don't remember. If it's a Prism Black, you got at least a 50-50 shot. Absolutely.
Yours is in here.
Yeah, mine's way up there in spot 14th. Not that I noticed.
Oh, look at that one.
I made a mental note of that. Oh, nice. PSA 10 MJ Platinum Medallion. That's really tough.
Whoa, look at that one. Oh, what the fuck is that? Whoa. Oh my God. Come on. I'm gonna freaking lose my mind, Chris.
Oh,
You're gonna make
you
me.
saw it already?
Of course I saw it. Take the 9 auto like a man. Take the PSA 8. Come on. Look at that card, dude. Go back. What the heck?
Oh,
That's a triple exquisite.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh,
Pretty neat.
that card is unbelievable.
This is a low-key banger right here. These are number
Isn't
2.
that a 7?
Yep. Ooh, McDavid RPA. Don't mind if I do. A 52 mantle. Wow, I'm surprised this didn't get at least a 9.
Look at that centering.
Look at that dog bite.
Look, this guy can take his grade like a man.
This guy clearly could have opted for authentic, and he said, you know what, I'm not fooling anybody.
The one thing I do enjoy about vintage baseball is, like, they take their ones.
They take their ones like champs.
Yep.
Whoa.
I shouldn't say take it like a man. Sorry, I meant take it like a collector.
It's all right, we made a note of it.
Yeah, you've been put on notice. Don't worry.
Christina's over there taking mental notes. What'd you think of the PSA 9 Pop 1? Whoa, look at that one.
Okay, I'm going to have to send Nat a DM. How is this not in the top 10? Okay.
Well, he's trying to be fair by mixing in some Pokemon and, Yu-Gi-Oh cards that we know he doesn't care about.
And I don't care about fairness. This card is a top 10, and you know what they call this? This is a new emerging trend in the hobby. I think MK Sports Cards pointed this out on a story today. This is called a jersey PSA label match, where the red matches the red.
That's not a thing.
That is
That's
definitely,
not a thing.
get your pump ready.
That's not a thing.
Get your pump ready. Whoa, wow. Oh, I believe this is old price, this card. Man, that's a nice card too.
Dude, aren't you just scrolling through this and being like, who had all this stuff at the show that I didn't talk to?
Yeah. Which backpack was this in?
I need better friends. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
Look at that one. What the fuck?
Here's what you were talking about.
Holy balls. Look at those autos.
Yeah, I think you could probably make a case for this being in the top 10.
Why didn't you put the auto grade? There's literally not a single one of these that I agree with their choices. Get the auto grade on this thing.
Josh hates all you guys.
I'm just like, do I gotta spell it out for all of you guys?
Man, that's really
Look at the autos. What am I missing?
It's a sharp looking card.
You should have worked the counter and yelled at everyone as they filled out their forms, Josh.
Oh,
All right. I guess PSA graded some decent cards.
yeah. Holy crap. Those were some bangers.
All right, next question. Coming in from 90s B-ball cards. Oh, shout out to Alex. I knew that Kobe looked familiar. There was a one-of-one Kobe that we brought.
The logo man looking one.
Yes, the Logo Man one-of-one Kobe belongs to Alex Sports Card Stallion. Really nice card. Okay, here it is. Passing the torch. Shout out.
I think he's selling it.
And he got
I
the.
think he's got a
You got the fucking authentic.
No, he got the auto. He got the auto grade though. Give him half credit.
No. Full credit.
Well, guess what half is? That's a 50%. That's an F.
Hey, you know what? In law school, 50% would take you pretty damn far. All right. 90s b-ball cards. Why are we still watching 1986 Fleer basketball? We know there are 2 to 4 MJs in each box plus stickers. The only question is their condition. It's a boring break.
You should have watched me break that on stage at National and watched the boredom in my face.
Josh breaking 86 Fleer was the top, who's the peak of all peaks.
Yeah.
That product will never be as exciting.
That product should never be broken and get live again because no one will ever top Josh breaking it.
I'm like, oh, wow.
card.
I'm the worst breaker. Nobody wants to watch me break because I have like this monotone voice, and it's like, oh, this fucking guy.
Don't let anybody tell you that, buddy. You'd be a great breaker.
No, I don't want to be. I don't. It's good. I say I'm bad because I don't want to be good at it.
Just do a little audition. You know, how like let's say a Trey Lance select sticker autograph shield just came out of your pack, and you've been hitting nothing all day, and you need to hype up these customers. What do you?
I'd be like, I'd say this looks like a PSA authentic to me, guys. No auto grade, just authentic. This bitch. Send it straight to gold, and you're set.
You know,
All right. You may be right, actually.
There are enough like collectors, I feel like, who hate themselves, and they probably like you breaking their product like that. Like, give me some dose of reality of like what cards are being pulled, and don't scream over like a base card of Cade Cunningham.
That would be funny though, that if it was like, whoa, hey, look at that, a 1 of 1. All right, next pack.
People in the
Wow.
chat be like, wow, he got really excited on that one, guys. Never
Yeah.
seen him so hyped.
Woo! I do like a whoa. It's a 1 of 1, and then I just like go on to the next pack.
Dude, there's a breaker who's been breaking forever. Firehand cards. Name of Chad, who actually does have like a really low-key, smooth breaker style. That's really, you would, if there ever was a breaker for you, it's this guy.
I'm just watching him like, this guy is fucking legit. Look at him go. Look at him rip these boxes. He's just living his best life.
All right. Flippin' Hoops says, do you think we'll get back to the point where the historic, in quotes, and scarce, in quotes, cards like the LeBron Exquisite RPA will only pop up maybe once a year as opposed to once every month?
Oh, yeah. I absolutely think we're going to get back to that point. And talked about this last week, but it's mostly when it's going to happen when, prices dip down to a certain point and people would rather hold, or the people who have bought up these cards in the last couple of years at these new prices, want to wait for the next sort of S-curve jump, so they'll just hold. Like, it'll eventually happen.
Yeah, and look, let's have some sympathy for people who are selling, because they are getting an enormous amount of pressure to sell these cards, because these marketplaces make a killing on the freaking rake. These marketplaces are thrilled to sell the same copy of the card 3 times in a row from the different people who are just selling them back and forth, because they're making a boatload of money. So,
or do you think we're in this next phase of the hobby where there's no turning back, and there's too much money involved, and we'll never get to a point where there's any mystery and scarcity and people are just selling and flipping around?
I think that's possible, dude. I think we've seen an evolution over the last 2 years, let's say, where at first it was like, oh, the Topps Chrome Refractor, like, damn, these are pretty rare. Pop is only a few hundred. This is such a big card long term. And then because there's several hundred in the population, or even a few dozen in the population, the price surges and those start coming out quickly. Okay. And then it shifts to like, oh, let's go to like Prism Color, and let's go to RPAs. And these are numbered to like 99 or like 49 or 25 even. And it's like, okay, this is the thing. But there's still copies of those floating out there. There's still enough copies out there that, if the price jumps a lot, there's enough to keep the marketplaces loaded with them. So now we're like in this fascination with 1 of 1s. We're like, oh, the Justin Herbert Shield 1 of 1 is currently at gold and just went over $1 million on bids tonight. Other examples,
Seriously?
Yes, seriously. And so now this is the, but there's always these changes but look, you can't get any scarcer than 1 of 1s. So where does it go from there? You know where it goes from there? It has to organically get to a point where it doesn't matter if it's a card of 99 copies, a few hundred copies, or 1 copy. It has to get to a point where the people who own it would rather own it than constantly be trading it to flip and get a little bit of cash on it. That's the point. It doesn't matter how many copies of it exist. What matters is that there's enough people out there who would rather own the card than make a small margin on it.
So do you think in the last 2 years we saw a lot of these cards being purchased by people who didn't necessarily want to own it and they just wanted to ride the wave up?
Possibly.
Yeah. But why are those people selling so quickly when the market goes down 6 months after buying it? That's the part that doesn't make any sense to me.
Who's advising them? If these are truly newcomers, I'd take a look at who's advising them, who's putting pressure on them to send these cards to market. Dude, I've gotten complaints from a lot of people who say their DM requests on social media platforms are starting to fill up with different professionals in the industry who are strongly encouraging them to sell their cards. There's pressure on people from their advisors in some instances to sell. The market's at its peak, move money into something else, sell, keep moving, keep flowing, keep buying, keep selling. It's people have been educated to behave this way. People have been taught that this is the way to do the hobby.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to say this without sounding like arrogant or that I know more, but like I just always thought this was a hobby to collect cards. I'm having a hard time with this whole, continuous marketplace flooding of cards and buying and selling back and forth, wheeling and dealing all the time. It's very odd. Because I remember like the dealers have always been a thing. There's always been dealers, but the point of the dealer was to like help connect cards to collectors. That was always like the main purpose and driver of the dealer. And then it was known that like the dealer had better connections to do that, and so they would make their money. And it was like this known thing. Collectors were okay with it. It was a nice cohesive existence between the two. And it's just sort of, money obviously is the big factor here, but it's sort of taken over where like that line is blurred and we don't even know, is anyone collect anymore? Or are we all just sort of like flipping back and forth to each other? So the way you said it very perfectly was, I said it like, supply and demand, all this fancy crap, but it has to get to the point when it's just like, it has to be with people who want to own the fucking card at the price they paid. Like they bought the card for a price, knowing that this is an item they're buying because they want to own it. Like that's what a collectible is, right?
Yes, absolutely. And people coming into the hobby are malleable. They are learning from advisors, from more experienced people, from trusted sources, and that presents an opportunity for how those of us who are already in the hobby can condition and teach newcomers different styles of collecting that they can try out and ultimately decide what they like for themselves. And I feel like the voice and the amount of people giving voice to the perspective that you just articulated is tiny. It's tiny. The sexy version of collecting that's dominating hobby culture and has dominated it over the last 2 years is like buying, making a margin, taking a profit, and then moving it into something else, and then rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And I personally think that that's not even anywhere near the most satisfying way to enjoy this hobby. Not even close. So it's going to take a paradigm shift. It's going to take a psychological mentality shift to get us to a point where we reinforce the perspective collecting-wise that actually the real fun in this hobby exists in the pride of ownership of your cards, not in the pride of the profit margin made on a short-term turnaround.
Can I quickly challenge what you and I are saying, though?
Sure.
I still do think, and I've seen it mostly anecdotally, but I've, in like DMs and people throughout the space, that there's still a lot of those people that are just in it for the collecting. I think what we've been harping on, though, is that the stuff that we hear the loudest and through the social media accounts and content is the opposite, is, like the stuff we're talking about. But there still are people sort of like more in secret collecting stuff, and there's still like a good percentage of that going on. There's just not a voice for those people, and I'm not sure if it's that, like that content isn't as viewed, so they just like rather not bother with the content. They'd rather just collect in peace and quiet, or it's just getting drained out by all their stuff. I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
Dude, you're absolutely right. And here, let me back it up. Let me back up what you're saying with some evidence. So look at the float that has been available over the last 2 years of, let's take a card that's near and dear to my heart, the Michael Jordan PMG Red. What percentage over the last 2 years of that total population has surfaced? 8 to 10%, probably. That's probably about how many different copies have sold over the last 2 years. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That means 90% of the population of this card is with people who don't want to sell it, even at, great profit margins. They prefer to own the card rather than to take profit and to be done with it. So there's one example, but if you looked at any card, if you look even at the LeBron Exquisite RPA, I would be amazed if anything more than 25% of the total population of that card has ever circulated for sale in a public setting. So, I don't know, do you think more than 25 unique copies of that card have ever sold in a public setting?
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice reality check that, we're talking about the Curry and the LeBron Exquisites that have been hitting once every auction. That's still 1 out of 99, and like you're saying, 25%. So that means 75%. And even those, 2 Logo Man autos, we've never seen those cards.
Yep.
That triple, we've never seen those. They just quietly got graded. They're going back into hopefully they stay with those collectors and they move. There's still a really large percentage that are quietly holding these cards that we just don't see, we don't hear about it. They're walking around these shows, they're involved, but they don't have big social media followings, and we don't hear about it. So, the tree that falls in the forest, kind of thing. Do we know what happens? I don't know.
Absolutely. So, two comments I want to highlight. First one is from Adam Lefko. He says there are auctions practically weekly at this point. That creates news. There are no news cycles built around people holding cards. Totally agree. I think we made a point to this effect last week when we were talking about hobby publications putting spotlights on super collectors like they used to do back in the day. So, Great point. You go ahead.
But it might just be on us, which, we've kind of turned away from this topic of reposting cards that you own several times. Maybe that's the other concern is I posted that a year ago. Do I have to post it again? And we're starting to question ourselves, maybe we need to start posting our own cards again because we're just in this group of holders,
Dude, it's so true. And in fairness, our critique was it had the qualifier that what's the intent of the repost?
Right.
Yeah. So is the intent to share cards and to say, hey, we respect people who collect and hold for a long time? Yeah. Or is the intent to just jack up the value of the card by making people look at it all the time?
Also, FS.
Yeah. Not for sale or trade yet.
those ones make me puke on Facebook. I've seen one where they'll post, not for sale, guys. Just want to see what you guys think the value is, and then the people and then they'll do another post the next day. You know what? I think I'm gonna put this out there, see if I get any offers. We'll see what's. Oh my god,
bro! Not for sale, not for trade yet.
Yet. ...
It's just come jerk off to my card, and then maybe I'll sell it to you guys a week later.
And then I'm always the guy that goes in there and throws bathwater on them. I'm it's actually worth half of what all of you are saying. Here's a comp from a week ago, and they're well, that come on. Let's be real. That's the serial number on that PSA slab is garbage, and the economics at that time, the eBay seller. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, let me just put a caveat on this in response to a couple things that have come in the chat. There is nothing wrong with selling cards. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's not get carried away here. There's a place for all of it. There's a place for all of it. And look, people sell cards to get better cards all the time. Sometimes people sell cards to leave the hobby and get into something else. Don't confuse the macro with the micro. It's good for the macro if people prefer to own their cards rather than sell them. But in the micro instance, for different individuals, it can definitely be far better for that person to sell cards and do well. And we do not begrudge them that. Okay.
I like how this week you're the good cop and I'm the bad cop.
I'm the good cop this week.
We kind of bounce back and forth. This week I'm making fun of authentic and selling, and you're over there oh, come on, it's okay.
And look, we just naturally balance somehow. Okay, AA Collectibles 91 says, this overhang will take time. There are a lot of pseudo flippers who have no idea what they're doing. And he knows it better than anybody because he is on the ground at these shows set up. And I just wanted to highlight that comment too. Okay, moving on. That one got the chat fired up a little bit. Flipping hoops.
Did you say fired up?
Yeah. Yeah. Something really lit the chat on fire.
I might have to go get my, what are those lighters called? Those big skinny ones? What are those called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The like you use to light things or light your grill. Yeah.
I might have to go grab one of those.
Yeah, I just have a feeling this episode's heating up. So.
He's on fire.
All right, we are shooting for par early in this episode. So late 90s b-ball has a nice friendly question, a lightweight question.
Oh, good.
Who is a player you collected when you were younger that you would not dream of collecting now? Mine is Antoine Walker.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Tell me more about this.
No, that's not me. That's him.
Oh, I was like, damn, I really never would have guessed that. He was like really bad analytically.
Well, I was like 8, I suppose, when Antoine Walker was drafted. So.
One of my favorite quotes of all time that was from Antoine Walker. You know what it is?
No, I do not.
A reporter asked him, why do you shoot so many threes? And he said, because there's no four-pointer.
Nice. Also, NBA analytics weren't even like a thing until 10-ish years ago.
He would not be playing today if it were.
Or he would have, I don't know, he would have changed his game. I do know mine. If you,
All right, let's hear it.
Mine was Chris Webber. Because like I started collecting cards with a level of seriousness in 93. And that was rookie year of Penny and Chris Webber. And I chose Chris Webber for I probably putting myself into my, 6-year-old mind. Or how old was I then? I was about 7, my 7-year-old mind. I think I like Chris Webber because we had the same first name. I think that was a big factor in me collecting. And he was with the Bullets and he was with the Warriors, it was the reverse. And he had that power in the key insert that I thought was cool. It was Chris Webber for me. And I would not collect him today just because I'm not a huge fan. Nothing against him, but not a huge fan.
Man, that's good. I didn't know that. Same. Him and Penny were traded for each other draft night. Remember that?
Woo. Crazy. What a draft class. Imagine if that was happening now.
Yeah. Mine is Kobe Bryant. I had, that card, I think it's called Rookie Exclusive. I can't remember. It's the one where like the background is like an actual basketball. It feels like a basketball. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Love
the
it.
Kobe Rookie.
Skybox.
That was my best card when I was a kid, and I had a couple other like decently nice Kobe's. And I just, I don't collect them. So we have that one, I think.
Actually, I think I'm confusing it with, you're talking about the Flair Showcase Kobe insert, I think?
No, it's like literally like a bumpy like basketball. I think it's called it's 1996 Kobe. It's exclusives. I was right. It's rookie exclusives.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do. We do have that. Oh, duh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love this card. This card is like straight up 90s nostalgia. Just love that card. Oh.
Yep. So I had that one couple, and I always wanted the Topps Chrome Refractor. Because I'm a couple years younger than you, so that makes sense. Like you were Chris Webber, I came in around 96 and started collecting, so that would have been like 7 or 8 then.
Yep. You came in long enough to pick the more interesting player.
I mean, Kobe was like everything back then, man. That rookie class, he was the big name.
Oh, there were these. You made me think of these. Here it is. This actually. I used to love this card. Oh no. 1993 Skybox Premium Draft Picks. Loved 93 Skybox Premium, low key, one of the great products. I love that product. Yeah, I love it.
Do you have memories of like when you were that age thinking cards were like really, really valuable and like rare and amazing, and then now today you're like, oh my god, those were so common?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Dude, Say more about how that worked for you, how your mind processed that.
Well, I mean, you're just like, you're younger and you just like don't, there was no internet back then. You just don't know what actually is rare. And you just kind of like, and when you're a little kid, you kind of build up everything that you have as being, better and more rare than it actually is, kind of thing.
Yep. No, yeah, I hear you. Sorry, just strolling down memory lane here. I loved this first day issue, Chris Webber as well, rookie year.
With Kurt.
That's
I definitely remember those with like the stamps and stuff.
Yeah, and that was such a nice parallel. Just a subtle, shiny box. And then these. I loved these. You probably had plenty of all these too.
I have all these in my binder.
The Hoops Draft Redemption. Yeah, these were just so sick.
Yep. The 93 Finest Refractor, I just thought was like the coolest thing ever at the time.
Yeah.
Because that was like a premium product, if you remember back then. That Finest product was like premium.
Oh yeah, I just completely put it out of my mind that I would ever own that card. There's here, I'll just show one of them real quick for nostalgia's sake. Just yeah, man, just the colors and like, God, it was such a daring design.
The 90s was just like, and I always wondered what that brown wall in the background was.
Yep. So like the desert or something? I just have no idea what that is.
Yeah. And I just love that that Michael Jordan's #1 in the set, and it's the first ever, Jordan refractor. I just love that little tidbit.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm trying to find Power in the Key. That's just like the last one I need to see. And then, do you remember these black golds? God, these were just their time.
What are the ones that were like, they were silver on the right side when they were like, they had like spikes on the right side? You remember that one? Like it was die cut and it kind of just was like triangles on the right. I don't think it was 93. It might have been like 95, 96, but
okay.
I remember those ones. Oh, of course, Beam Team.
93.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God, just the use of foil was just, it still sets the standard even to this day.
I remember Beam Team really standing out in the back of magazines. SP. Look up 95 Upper Deck SP Penny Hardaway.
Okay, hang on.
You guys search Anthony.
1995.
Upper Deck SP Hardaway. Oh, people in the chat are all over it today. I'm just like describing cards and they're just nailing them.
Okay. So I've searched 1995 Anthony SP Upper Deck. Is that what I need to search?
Yeah, scroll down.
We got Electric Court. We got these. Oh, I love those SPXs.
It might be 96, 97.
Do you know what the name of the insert is?
No, I'm about to go get my binder. Let's move on to questions. I'll find it.
All right. Are you sure you just don't want to just look at old cards all day?
Well, that one, scroll up. It's not this one, but this one's right there. No, up. Right there. That one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a classic, man. And this is the die cut. This is the rare version.
Dude, anything with man, Penny Hardaway still gives me the, like, insane nostalgia feels.
Tingle down your leg?
Oh, just like watching him in the 96 playoffs and stuff. Oh.
Dude, he was sick, man.
He was sick. All right, question me.
Next question. Thank you for that question, David. Oh, okay. So we have two questions on the similar subject. From C Rhymes 23 and from Cardboard Insights. I'm just going to read them both. Chase's question is short. Cardboard Insights is long. Chase says, what defines a collector versus what defines an investor? How can the hobby attract more collectors? And that's Chase's question, which echoes what we were talking about earlier a little bit, I think. And then Cardboard Insights says, oh yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I don't want to distract. This is a good question.
Cardboard Insight says, when someone identifies as an investor in the hobby, it seems very hard to understand what that word means. I have come to the conclusion that what this seems to mean is that their mindset is simply more geared towards money than cards. But even that seems like a conundrum, because if we look at performance of cards over time, it is the cards that appeal to collectors that tend to appreciate more and hold value. It seems like an investor's best bet in making money would just be to become a collector. It seems like the end of pure investor leads to things like fractional ownership, no tangible ownership, highly transacted, stock market like, not super fun in my opinion. This is per Cardboard Insights. Is being a collector the ultimate have your cake and eat it too scenario, where you get a store of value and you get fun? What's the purpose of being an investor if it seems like they're typically outperformed by collectors? Aren't collectors almost the best long-term investors by default?
Whew. I mean, we've been saying that for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And we talked about that a lot on Crossover, but also we talked about a lot about it on our YouTube channel. So like we used to say, we had like data points. Remember, we used to like call out actual data points of like, oh, this collector that bought this card and held it for 10 years kind of thing. Look at that one.
Beam team, very nice.
But I think he answered Chase's question too. The difference to me is the intent. Like, is your intent to have cards that you're trying to own, or you're trying to make money? Those are really just the two. But I also think collectors, myself included, are also allowed, not allowed. They are investors, because you can't just be spending all this money and not have a little bit of, investing mindset involved. It's really just like, is your intent at the end of things to be ending up with cards or money? Those were like, that's the distinction for me. And yeah, I mean, I just agree with that whole comment. Like, he's asking a question, I think, but he's just making really great points. I think I replied 2 brain emojis.
Yeah, you gave him 2 brains. That is not easy to get. Now, I also have a tip, for people who are unsure if they like. Cause look, let me spin this a different way. We're all collectors. Some people just like to collect money. Some people just like to collect cards. Okay, how about that? Well, if you like to collect money, there's a whole genre for you. It's called numismatics, and you can collect.
It's called what?
Numismatics.
Coins.
You can collect old money. You can collect new money. You can collect money that allegedly went to the moon and can be radiocarbon dated. You can collect first issues. You can collect illegal coins. You can collect coins from the Roman Empire. And that's all good too, because Collector's Universe grades those as well. So whether you're collecting money, whether you're collecting coins, whether you're collecting cards, get in where you fit in. If you want to collect money, though, you can literally do that. You don't need to be in cards.
Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, there's so many cards like that from the mid-90s that nobody ever talks about. So many. There's like, oh, here it is. I found it. Well, there's 2 here. I was thinking of 2. So the one I was thinking of first is this one.
Oh, championship shots from SP. Yes. I used to have that whole set. Not the gold. But
really? The Jordan's pretty nice, right?
Oh, yeah. And the gold is sick. And the backside of those cards, if memory serves, is really shiny. Yeah.
Let's take a look. Yep.
Let's go. The back. I used to look at the backside more than the front.
All right, this is my favorite card. This is my favorite card of the kid. This one. You remember these?
Nice. I remember those as well.
Because it's got like 2 photos of him. One of him dunking and one of him. And the back is just similar too. It's got like the shiny back. Oh yeah, look at that one. Oh, there's gold parallels. Hell yeah.
Yep, MJ Gold. This is the highest selling championship shots on record. Went for $3,000 in 2020. Maybe about a $6,000 card today. Maybe more. I don't know. Maybe less.
You know why I like that one?
Why?
Because he just looks like a badass motherfucker in that picture.
Yeah, he looks like he might kill someone.
Like, he just looks like someone just said something to him, and he's just like, what the fuck did you just say?
That's like the face I picture.
You say I was only going to score 41 points tonight? I don't think so.
That's and I took that personally face.
And I took that person. Gary Payton thought he could guard me. I don't think so.
Dude, that's a great card.
Oh, I love Michael Jordan cards, man.
Oh, this one too. These ones are like incredibly common. I used to think that these were worth a lot, and they're just like stupid coins. You could buy these. These are like one of those cards that would show up in those like bolted down things you used to hang on your wall. You know, people would put those in them.
God, keep this going, man. This is. I didn't expect this '90s nostalgia energy at all. Let's go.
Look at these two gentlemen.
I think we like those two guys.
I've also got some of my expensive cards in here just because fuck it.
Bring them out. Let's see that HV 500. I know that's in there. Oh, a cut above. Why couldn't they die cut the bottom too?
Football. Football was like, come on, guys. What are you guys doing? Go to the next question. I can multitask. Oh.
Or can you?
Oh.
Oh, the original precious metal.
Little PMG action.
Ooh, the metal shredders. Oh, there's a request from Slab Strong Tim for Flair. No Flair pennies?
Oh, there's Flair. There's everything in here.
Ooh, maximum metal.
This was the first box of cards I ever opened was 96, 97 Fleer metal.
Wow.
I didn't pull this card though.
Amazing.
Oh.
Are these in penny sleeves in your binder, or?
Oh, Topps 96 Topps Chrome Refractor. Let's go.
Yeah, penny sleeve inside of a binder.
Okay. I was just wondering how you keep them.
Damn, that 96 Topps Chrome Refractor, though. Ooh.
That tells you everything you need to know about a man.
How green is 96 Topps Chrome Refractor is?
No, she's like, are those in penny sleeves inside of a binder? Or like, what are we talking here? What's the setup? What are we looking at? Here's a Flair.
There we go. Hot Shots. Yes. Yep.
There's a copy of this.
Go ahead.
There's a copy of this where it doesn't say Anthony Hardaway. It says, I believe it says Chris Webber for penny.
Chris Webber? Oh, okay. Antonio McDonough.
I can't remember.
The error.
The Jordan?
I'm a Jordan, probably.
I think Jordan says it. Can I McDice?
Almost every single one of them has an error card.
Yeah. And
I remember adding them to the ladder. It was so annoying.
And they're annoying. Yeah, to track. Oh, there's the HV 500.
He said Flair, not Fleer. That was Flair.
That was
Flair Hot Shots, my guy.
Flair Hot Shots.
Oh, this binder is just like...
You can just keep flashing things as we go through.
Yeah, I won't talk. I won't say anything. I'll just
This is a perfect question for what's happening. Grail Card Quest says, what are some of your favorite all-time design elements used in cards? Examples might be 90s space themes, refractor technology, defined borders like optic or tops, chunky patches, etc.
I really like parallels that make already cool design where like the aesthetics are nice, it's a good photograph. You know, it's like it's got all the kind of basic things you look for in a card. It's got the nice description on the back, the stats, and then a parallel makes it shiny, makes it more rare, gives it that little extra juice of something to chase, but you still enjoy the aesthetics of the card.
Right on. There's so many correct answers to this question, but the one that pops into mind for me is like when a parallel from the 90s had a very subtle but shiny difference. So like 96, 97 Platinum Medallion, it just took the nameplate and just filled it in with, holofoil that was like speckled or something. And then, or like 93, 94 Stadium Club, the first day issues, the only difference is just like a small shiny box that says first day issue. I loved the subtle difference that distinguishes the parallel from the base.
Speaking of investing, I know you're big investing in these cards.
Oh yeah, those are going up. Those have a lot of room for growth.
Hit all the cliches. Come on, that's all you got.
There's not enough of those to go around once Ted Yates is done.
Once more people realize about these cards, it's over.
Look, the people in this hobby need to be educated on the Flair Showcase Row 1.
Undervalued. Oh, one of my favorites. I don't know why more people don't think these, why these aren't more expensive, but double-sided shiny.
Thunder and Lightning. That looks like a really good condition copy. A lot of the backs have like chipping on them.
Oh, that's because I trimmed this one.
Ah, okay. That still wouldn't get rid of the like bad chipping on the back, like the whole back surface, like something was stuck to it.
I'm kidding, card porn. Don't make a post about this.
Yeah, too late.
Too late. He already. What's that called? What does Bill Simmons say? People are going to aggregate this.
Yeah, don't aggregate this, please. Oh, season ticket autograph. Yeah, that's nice. That dude.
Did the NJ
binder? This is actually, like it was making a lot of people cringe when I was holding that card over the balcony. Seeing these like cards that I know are very valuable and high grade is making me nervous.
They're just like chilling in this little binder.
Or
Josh, I'm gonna break in your house, steal your binder, grade all of these cards, and then place them back.
Dude, weren't most of these like graded and you like took them out and to put them in the binder?
Yeah, the high voltage was a BGS 8.5 and I cracked it out.
That's
a lot of these were.
Grade for a high voltage.
I don't like slabs that much. I like slabbing a certain type of card, but if it's a card that's under like 500, I just don't like it slabbed.
Fair enough. Okay, mostly 90s basketball card says, I think many of us can fall into the trap of correlating our favorite cards with also being our most valuable. I've been thinking recently that consumer surplus, and don't worry, I will define this because I had to look it up. But he said, I've been thinking recently that the concept of consumer surplus is a better way to figure out what our favorite cards are. Which cards in your collection have the highest consumer surplus? And do you feel that this aligns with what your favorite card is? And so what is a consumer surplus? That's just where the price that the customer pays for something is way less than what they actually would be willing to pay if they were bid up to their if you were able to shill them up to their max bid, it would be much higher than what they actually have to pay. So like you might have a $50 card that's worth $100,000 to you. You would pay $100,000 for it, but it's only worth $50. So that's what he's getting at. What card in your collection has the biggest consumer surplus? You value it much, much more than the market does.
I mean, you're looking at it, man. It's this kind of stuff. Like, I just love cards under like $500 where they visually, to me, like if me as someone experienced in the space, if you like put two cards next to each other, like if I took this one, I mean, people know that these are numbered to 40, pennies isn't, so it's like worth basically nothing. But if you put this next to like, his credentials 97, which is also like a gold background, would you be able to know like, oh, this one's worth like $5,000 and this one's worth like, $50 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the surplus of these like binder cards, I just get way more, pound for pound, dollar for dollar. I get more enjoyment out of it. I can do more with it. So I guess that's kind of my answer.
That's the perfect answer. That's the perfect answer. And a really good question, something to think about for all of us out there. Collectogram says, can all of us sheep stop using the phrase or the term hobby and instead start using the phrase an open or unregulated market?
Too many words.
Not very marketable, Collectogram. Obviously, what he's getting at here is like, this isn't a hobby. This is high stakes investing and gambling and etc. Woo! What's that? Oh, that's a fake. That's a custom. All right. Well, there was going to be an intervention if you had cracked that out for the bond.
The Collectogram sounds like he needs a month on an island, like a break.
Look, Collectogram, man, I know what he's saying. He's saying, how can we call this a hobby when it's a market and there's so much money involved?
Can we go back to the like island vacation thing for a second? Because Josh was like, oh, that sounds kind of nice, except when you run a business and there are four of us. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm just thinking about like Josh and Chris on an island, and what would they be doing? they'd be on their fucking phones looking for cards and like looking prices up. Like it's not like YouTube would ever be like, oh, I'm on vacation, let me read a book not about sports or the hobby or econ.
Look, now we're an hour two. So I can get a little more crude. I'm in the hobby when I'm making my midnight dash because nature is called. I check my phone and I probably take in 2 or 3 pieces of hobby content during that little 2-minute exercise. So the hobby, like, it never really turns off for me. You know, even like, look, you know, there's something about it that we just love. This hobby is very addicting, but there are parts of it that we don't like. But dude, we love this hobby, man. Like, there's no turning it off. There's no turning off this hobby.
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's not real to say like.
Yo, that's a whole new. My man, Fat Snacks just coined a term, the hobby dump. Yo, wow. Okay, I'm not talking about a dump. I'm talking about the midnight tinkle. That's all we're talking about.
Do you sit down and pee?
What? Yeah, we're talking. Do you say IP? Like,
I said, do you sit down and pee then? You're sitting there on your phone while you're peeing.
Nah, man, I got the phone in one hand. I'm propped up, like leaning over the wall, you know, phone in one hand, just looking at my hobby up there.
How many times you dropped that phone in the toilet?
No, I've never done that. But if you ever see, like, you ever wake up to a like from Chris Hose or something like that, you know what happened.
Yeah, the great thing about this world that we're in, the hobby or whatever you want to call it, is that we've got 2 sides of it. We've got like our friends, and we can just kind of bullshit, and we have infinite things to talk about. We've got, you know, drama and cards that pop up that we've never seen, and then we've also got the side that's like, you know, where we can totally push ourselves away from having to talk to anybody. We just search cards and buy cards and sell. Like it's kind of the best of both worlds, and you can go between the 2 spaces. So like if you're saying you need a break, and that's kind of what Christina's saying, is like if we took a break from the hobby, we would just lean in on the other side and just like be on eBay and ignoring everybody, you know. Or you could take a break from buying because of money things, and you just go on the other side and you just talk to people.
Totally. Yeah, man. And, you know, being away from the hobby, it is gonna make you want to like go back to the hobby that much harder, you know, that much stronger.
Yeah. So,
okay. Dingers and Buckets says, how do you properly value comps in a down market? Oh, wait, hold on. Breaking news. We have a question. We never do this, but this question is so topical, we're going to interrupt the flow. Slabstrong wants to know, have you ever brought a slab into the bathroom? Who wants to go first?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I mean, I often put slabs in my pocket,
Okay.
like my hoodie pocket.
Mm-hmm. So you inadvertently brought it in?
Yeah, but then like I like realize it's in there, and I'm like, oh, okay, like.
Look, slabs are very precious objects that should never be subjected to the dirtiness of a bathroom. So think carefully before bringing your slabs into the toilet, because once it's been brought in, you can never. That's part of its provenance. That should be written up on the BBC e-cell sheet. That should be noted if this box has ever been in a toilet before.
It's not in the toilet. It's in the bathroom.
It's worse. You know, like, I'm one of those people, I'm sure you guys are the same. Going into a public restroom, I'm like, don't touch anything. Don't breathe. Like, breathe through your nose, not your mouth. I'm sitting there like, I want to get in and out. So I'm not bringing slabs into a public restroom, but my own bathroom, you know, I feel it's clean enough there.
Is there enough reading material to hold you over on the back of a card? You might need a big pile of slabs.
I don't know. There's some people in the chat answered really quickly, so like maybe we should ask them. Stiff.
You know, Carbohydrate said, "Don't act like you don't open mail days in the porcelain." All right, moving on. All right. So back to Dingers and Buckets question: how do you properly value comps in a down market? What is this question getting at? Is this question really saying, do we have to believe comps, or can we ask for more?
Remember when you, Was it you that said this? Like, if nobody pays above the last comp, then prices never go up. Remember that?
Sounds like a very Hojian statement.
So that's kind of what this guy's saying, right? Like, why should I treat, if we're in a down market, why should I treat every, next purchase as lower than the last comp? Why do I have to buy at 80% kind of thing, or sell my stuff at 80%? It might be a frustration of that kind of being a thing that's happening right now.
Fair points. And sellers play a role in price inflation as well. Sellers have the opportunity to say, I will not sell at the last comp. And that can create an upward price pressure as well. So from the seller's point of view, you are under no obligation to sell at comps. But, if it's a highly liquid card that transacts a lot, you might not have much of an option if you want to sell it.
Yeah.
Mikey the Breaker, with a very direct, big question. Why do you think there's so much negativity in the hobby?
Like more of it lately than usual, or just in general, you think?
Didn't say.
Well, with prices going down, people are anxious, getting frustrated. There might be more negativity because of that. More money in the space brings more scams, brings more negativity, brings more people taking advantage of each other. These are kind of two basic ones. I don't know. I kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier, where I just feel like in general, the majority of the content that takes up the brainwaves is more leaning towards negativity and drama and not the cards. That's just kind of my overall take. And we've been on this take for a while. I feel like that's the same answer as it answers this question as well.
Yeah, nailed it. I don't have too much to add to that. I think that's spot on. Also, you had this really neat observation last week or 2 weeks ago that the hobby is just kind of integrating with generic social media life.
Yep.
People hate everything under the sun on social.
You should go on Reddit. If you go on Reddit versus our hobby, we're the most positive. Reddit is just everything is horrible, shitting on everything. That's just kind of the way the world is now, the internet world.
Dude, look, sometimes I get to feel in clubhouse rooms on the hobby are sometimes they get a little stale or weird. Then I do what I did tonight and I go into other clubhouse rooms and I'm like, man, this is goofy weirdo stuff going on in these other rooms. Our rooms are pretty normal. Our rooms are healthy. I have a whole new perspective.
Like what?
Oh, I went into a room that was debating something to do with religion, but the topic was just two guys bickering because one guy was like, you don't know what transcendentalism is. You don't know who Kant is. And the other guy was like, yeah, so what if I don't know what those are? You still have to answer my question. The other guy was like, I don't have to answer your question until you first admit that you don't know what quantum transcendentalism is. And the other guy was like, yeah, I admitted that I don't know what those are. And then some other guy comes over the top and tries to moderate it. And it's just wow, our rooms are actually quite organized. And, they have a flow to them that actually is, I don't know. I think sports card rooms low-key on Clubhouse are the cleanest run rooms. They function better than any other room. Except for you get the rooms where the one super influencer gets up on stage, nobody else is coming up and he's just going to pump his crypto punk to you for an hour. That happens sometimes too.
Crypto dick butt.
Dude, why people are asking for the crypto dick butt and the shit beast content. Yes.
Dude. Yeah, because people love and we hate on it. It's the same thing.
Right? Yo.
It's because they know what they're going to get from us. It's very consistent, our take on that, how silly it is. And
so, man, people just need an outlet. Blow off a little steam, Let's talk about some crypto dick butts and we'll all feel better. So.
Blow off some crypto dick butts. Oh, you shouldn't have said that one.
All right. Now the price on those is going to go up. That's just the cruel irony of the internet. Okay.
Yeah, we can point to the top of the graph. Here's where I bought Christian McCaffrey. And the bottom of the graph, here's where I started talking about shit beast. It's the opposite of what you bought.
That's good. That's so good. That's a great follow-up. Okay. Cards and Candy 911 says, Cards and Candy 911 says, card shows. When walking up to a dealer offering your cards for sale, if the card has no comps, how do you value that card? Who has the upper hand at this point?
So this is the person walking the show is trying to sell to the dealer?
Yes.
I still feel like the dealer has the upper hand in this situation because there are like several other dealers, you know? Like if you're not going to be willing to sell at a fair price to what that dealer says, they're just going to be like, well, then go sell it, you know, sell it to someone else because you're going to have that same problem at every dealer.
Yep.
But, you know, if you find a dealer that wants to collect that card or has some sort of interest in it more personally or they're specialized in that kind of card, it could be better for you.
Right on. Okay, here, let me take this angle. There is a comp for every card. So I'm rejecting this question outright. The question says you don't have any comps for your card. There is a comp for every card. What is a comp? A comp is a comparable. The perfect comp is the exact copy, the exact grade on the most recent time possible. But it's also a comparable if it's the same set but a different player who has a similar legacy and similar collector base. That's still a comparable. It's just not a perfect one. There are comps for every card. Equip yourself with as many relevant comps as needed to be persuasive and go from there. That's how I would say you roll, because there is no such thing as no comps. There is always a comp. It's just how on point is the comp. That's the question.
But can I say, this is why I'm not like super in love with the, you know, the pricing tools where it's like take a picture of it and it's like, it's kind of this black or white, you have this card or you don't, versus like, give me a fucking search box and let me go to town. It might take me a few minutes. might search other players. I might have to search different years, but at least I have free form to kind of like do what you're saying, like find something. There's going to be a way. There's some math you can apply or some, you know, player index or something. There's always a way.
Oh, that's such a good point. And that is the philosophical approach that we are leaning into and we've always embraced. Moving away from like the dream world of just like laying in your bed and you just make money and you do nothing, you know, like that's like the one end of the spectrum. Like, how can I just like be in the hobby and do absolutely nothing and make $1 bazillion? You know, who can build tools?
Rip the pack, send it to the vault, the PSA, yeah.
Who can make the tools for this to happen? So I just like, I don't even have to be awake. I can just be off in the metaverse somewhere and just my cards are going up. We are leaning into the other side of the hobby, which is take a creative approach, back off of some of the algorithmic approaches that are being taken. We have overdosed on those, and I think they are doing more harm than good. And just, you know, give me a search bar, like Josh said. Just give me the search bar, and let me go to work, and let me dig in and find stuff. Dude, when I do little story posts and stuff like that, it's literally just because I'm browsing the last PWCC or the last Golden auction in sales history on Card Ladder. And I just like, oh, this is a cool card. Had no idea that this sold, and I want to make a little bit of content about it because I think it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to get that if I'm just laying in bed, headset on, fucking Oculus time. I'm in the metaverse. I'm in fucking metaverse. My cards are in the vault, and I'm not doing anything. It is not human. It is something else.
Can I tell you my favorite, my current favorite like activity or pastime? Like you're gonna be like, this is totally you. This is you because you're such an asshole. What I love to do is when I go on Facebook and I see people, they're like, there's no comps. I couldn't find anything, so I'll just throw out a number, and it's like some stupid number that like is no way. And I'm just like this. Hey, watch this. Get my laptop, go to sales history, and I just start poking around. I just start looking. I find something similar, take a screenshot of it, post it in the comments of that, and I go, nope, you're wrong. Here's the actual comp. This is pretty solid. Here's the data, blah, blah. And then it just crickets, like, oh, damn.
Oh, why would you ruin such a great used car salesman training course?
Because it just bothers me so much that I'm like, what? No, I'm going to, crack my knuckles. Give me a second here.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. All right, let me get the old search box out here because I know what to, like when I see something like that, I just know what to search to open up. I know how to open up the search. I know not to limit and search too specifically. Like being in the hobby, you and I just like know what to search for. Like, oh, like, if you didn't know, you would just like blindly look at the back of the card and search the details of it. Be like, no, some people name it this. You need to parentheses that. You need to do auto, comma, autograph. You need to do this kind of stuff.
Very important skill to develop, I would say, to really flourish in this hobby.
That's why the algorithm auto searching stuff is never going to be perfect because there's all of these little intricacies. Like 98.99 game jersey autos. Good fucking luck cornering that into it. Like you've probably figured out the query, but goddamn, that's hard.
Dude, no, the Jordan has 6 variations, and they're all numbered to 23, and they all look.
And everyone calls them jerseys, jersey autographs, autos, like game jerseys, game used. Like it's a nightmare.
Dude, I've seen people on Facebook doing the most, let's call it creative accounting. People like trying to sell like an SGC 7, but they don't like the last SGC 7 comps, so they're using SGC 6.5 comps from a little while longer ago that had like a PWCC eye appeal sticker on it. And they're saying, well, if the SGC 6.5 is this, and the SGC 7 must be this one more than that. And I'm like, wait a minute, the last SGC 7 comp is like half of what you're saying your SGC 7 is worth. I mean, wow. It just, oh boy.
Dude, I've seen people like use card ladder screenshots of sales history and they'll like remove one of the sales, like the most recent one, and they'll like scroll down and be like, look at here are the last 2 comps. What about the one from last night? At half the value of those, bro.
Oh man.
There's certain people that they'll always price stuff super fair, and I just trust everything they have. And I just like, yep, I barely even look at it myself. Like, I know you're fair. There's a lot of people in the hobby like that, which makes me, have faith in the world.
For sure, for sure. All right.
I thought of that because totally certified die cut in here. Brandon, every time I buy from him, it's always fair. Price is like reasonable. There's some of us out there.
I take it he's not a dentist.
I don't think so. I hope not, because that would ruin my relationship with him.
More importantly, that would ruin my image of dentist that I've been trying to project.
Yeah, he's also not a kid, so.
Okay. We await Brandon's confirmation. All right.
He just said muscle emoji.
Oh, he's a bodybuilder on the beach. Okay.
He wears the sunglasses.
He's a butcher.
Nice.
He's a butcher. Well, that's cool.
Chop up a lot of deals? Okay. Drake's PC says, with Beckett's introducing a vault. Oh my God, the vault questions. Okay. With Beckett introducing a vault to go along with eBay, PWCC, Golden, Alt, etc., also having vaults, do you see all these vaults as a positive or a negative for the hobby, and why? This is from Drake's PC.
I've been thinking about this one all day long.
Ooh, okay.
And I don't have a good answer. I honestly, the one I settled on was I don't think it has any effect. Like, what am I supposed to, how can you quantify, like, this is good or bad? Like, people either just, like, use these vaults or they do not.
True.
I always think about something like a vault or some other tool. I think of these tools as, like, these individual pieces of tool, like an individual tool that I may use in my journey to collect. Whereas the vaults now have become a means of a way to control supply for your own company, right? Like it's not necessarily like a vault to help you as a collector do what you're trying to do. It's more of like, use our vault services. Like you almost have to have the vault you have to have that in your product line in order to maximize your own company's revenue through controlling the supply.
Yeah. Hey, vaults have come a long way too. ComC, you could say was a vault, many
Ship my cards
ago. Ship my cards. Lots, vaults have always sort of been there, but now that concept has been, or is approaching being fully developed and fully fleshed out. Look, there's a lot of practical things that make vaults nice. If you don't feel comfortable with your cards at home, you can store them in a vault and they're insured. And that's a pretty nice perk. And if you're with a vault like the collector's vault that's tied to Golden, you can easily send cards to auction. So that's a nice perk as well. On the other hand, to make this a balanced discussion, there is a sentiment among some collectors, at least, that there's something not quite as desirable about not having your cards in reach. And there's something a little more pure, a little more true to the collector spirit, having your cards in your possession. So
I personally like buying cards that are in vaults because I'll generally like have an account with that company already, and then I'll buy it, and then they just like transfer it over, and then I trust the company that's going to be shipping it to me through the vault more than no offense, but more than that individual, just because I don't know them. And I know PWCC, Golden, these companies, they do a really nice job shipping stuff.
Sure.
So that's it's honestly like, it's really nice when I buy something from a vault and it's with me the next day, and the transaction was very smooth because all they had to do was transfer it. It's a nice thing. And if I know I'm going to sell something, it's not a bad option to like have it in the vault. That's why the eBay vault is going to be, whether you want to believe it or not, it's going to be an important tool in the hobby, because if people have like a lot of their inventory on eBay Marketplace, and same goes for Golden and PWCC, if you like sell your stuff with those platforms, why not just have it in the vault and then you don't have to ship it yourself, right?
Yep. A couple more perks of vaults that come to mind. Number one, they take really high quality scans and catalog your collection, which can be nice. Another thing is that cards don't have to stay in vaults forever. Vaults can be temporary holding places. So like there are definitely international collectors who don't want their cards being shipped internationally, maybe for a variety of reasons, and they will let their cards accumulate in a vault, and then they'll come to the good old US of A and pick them up, maybe once every year or something like that. So vaults also like enable international participation in a pretty important way.
And the tax stuff, I don't want to get into that too much, but some of the tax benefits.
Definitely. But make no doubt about it, like, just so like, look, there's full transparency here. I keep nothing in a vault. So
yeah. Well, I think the point of the question was that, it's getting a little bit silly just of how many vaults there are. And that's why I made this comment about like each of these companies almost have to have a vault, because it's kind of it's baked into their products. Now you almost need it in order to funnel everything else around.
Fair.
But there was no vaults when we were starting, right? Like that wasn't even a thing.
In 2016?
The banks, right?
In 2016, I think ComC was functioning as a vault, but they weren't calling it that. But
yeah, but it was, that's primarily for like low end stuff.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Frozen Infernal Collectibles says, how do you feel? Oh, another vault question. Okay. How do you feel about storing high-end cards in a vault or a safety deposit box? Side note, a safety deposit box is very different than a vault, because presumably a safety deposit box, you can go take your cards out in 15 or 20 minutes.
Right.
Versus keeping them at home where you can enjoy them. So vault or safety box versus keeping them at home. And if you buy a card and have it sent to or retained in a vault service without ever actually holding the card yourself, would you feel like you actually owned it, or is it more like an NFT at that point? So his point is, hey, if you're going to just put your cards in a vault and you're never even going to have them in your possession, aren't they basically NFTs?
Yeah. I don't personally feel super comfortable like describing exactly what I do. I have a lot of different ways of storing cards. But similar to you, I like to look at my cards. So like having it at the vault isn't a good option for me, because I don't want to have to fly, super far to have to see my own cards. So I'm on board with that as the baseline, and I'll just kind of leave it there, I think. But I do the bank vault is a great option because it's like it almost kind of gives you this sense of like it's close enough that I can go look at it whenever I want, and when I do, it kind of becomes this extra special thing that once a week or whatever you want to go look at them. So there's you can kind of like put them super close to you, have them in your house. You can go medium and have them in a bank vault. You can go far and have them in a vault where it is kind of this like NFT thing. So I don't know.
Nice spectrum. I'll say this. It's not the same as NFTs because there still is a physical item at the end of the day. And the physical item is the source of what people want. It's what people desire to own.
That's my favorite.
Graphical.
That's my favorite pivot that NFT made was that like, hey, people don't actually give a shit about these. We needed to connect them to real things, and then they're valuable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like when good old Top Shot made its pivot into putting the Top Shots on physical displays that you can display in your home.
I love irony.
So it's
Wasn't it just like an iPad in a frame?
Yeah.
It was like, yes.
So that's the difference. That's actually a huge difference.
Yeah.
That there's a real scarce physical item in the physical world, not the metaverse, that is, the actual thing in question. The picture is just depicting it. All right. Next question in the queue from Drake's PC. How do you approach a situation where someone posts a card you want and they simply say they are accepting offers? Do you give them your best offer, or do you make them come up with a number?
Man, I'm just like making so many enemies tonight. I also don't like that tactic. It's so annoying. Like, you're the one selling the card. It's your price. Like, come on, you initiate. Whoever initiates the discussion is the one that has to say the price first. That's my hard and fast rule. If you come up to somebody and you're cold messaging someone on a card they have in their Instagram that they did not say is for sale, you have to make the offer. If someone says, I'm selling this card, you have to say the price first. That's just like, to me, that's just like, it's such an easy rule to follow. Except, okay, so to answer the question, in this scenario, what would I do? Depends on how bad you want the card, right? Like if it's like a super rare PC card, I'd make an offer. I would do what we were talking about earlier, where I'd do my research, show the data, go through sales history, figure out what it is, make my fair offer, show them how I got to that number, and I would start there.
Now, what if I post my mail day and then I put underneath it, making this available? Isn't that like, the more fancier way to do things? That's like the fancy way for sale. This is
in that scenario. In that scenario, here's one exception I'll make of a scenario that I would allow. If you hit that 1-of-1 and it came to you and you wanted to make it immediately available, and I'm someone that didn't know that it was for sale when you bought it, and I now see that it's for sale, I'll literally message you and be like, I'll give you 20% more than what you just paid, because you clearly want to make money on it, and I want it 20% more than you. Let's just do this.
Fair enough. But it certainly, from the seller's point of view, will endear you to buyers much more if you are able to offer them a number, rather than make them come to you with a blind offer. You're going to make a lot more friends, I think, as a seller, if you are able to give people a price, a starting point for a negotiation. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, to be really fair, like almost everything annoys me, so like I'm not the best use case.
Josh is like, don't give a number, don't not give a number. Just give me your fucking card. Ship it to me.
I just want prices, and I want like your reasoning, and I want it to be fair, and I want to make a smooth deal. Those are my favorite deals. They happen very infrequently, but when they do, I love it.
Okay. All right.
I'm on fire tonight.
Yeah, let's go. Level Up Cards says, being Michael Jordan and LeBron collectors, how do you guys view their autographs that are in Fleer sets from after Upper Deck bought Fleer in the mid-2000s? Do you think less of them because MJ and LeBron are exclusively Upper Deck, and maybe you view their Fleer autographs as being outliers or non-traditional? Or do you value them more because Fleer is now defunct, making them more rare than Upper Deck autos, or do you just not really care?
Well, I'll answer this, and you probably won't because you don't collect autos at all, right?
Exactly.
I value them less because I prefer the look and aesthetics of the Upper Deck autographs. I like the exquisite designs better, so I just go purely off of the fact that Upper Deck has more history behind it, more lineage, like better designs. So I just go kind of off of that. I usually, in this conversation, I always prefer like the history of the card. And I prefer like, this is why people like Prism over others, because there's like a distinct lineage and it has history and it's built up of this, it's the preferred set for a reason. So I usually lean into that.
Yeah. And Josh said exactly what I was going to say from my point of view, which is I don't care. It's not only are those like post-playing years MJ cards by a decade, but, well, not by a decade, post-Chicago Bulls playing years.
By 5 years?
Yeah, I'm just like exaggerating grossly there, but I just don't even care about MJ autos for the most part. Okay.
You're in the minority on that one.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Dillick Card says, have you guys ever had a card you're selling at auction shilled on eBay? If so, what steps do you take? So you're the seller and somebody is shilling your card on eBay. I cancel all those persons' bids and block them on eBay. Is that too much?
No, I mean, that's like the honorable thing to do, right?
Yeah, just be extra sure that it's a shill bidder. But I mean, I'm envisioning a zero feedback account, increasing bids by 50 cents until they push the person to their top bid, and then they stop. And yeah, it's pretty hard to see that as anything other than a shill bidder.
Yeah, I mean, the most annoying scenario that ends up happening is that the shill, like someone shills and then, it ends up where the card doesn't get paid and you have to relist, and it's like, God, what a waste of time. Nobody wants that. So like removing those bids will probably increase your odds of, the item being sold legitimately and getting paid for.
Totally. All right, from mostly 90s basketball cards, if you could live across the street from any stadium and have season tickets for any sport team in history, which team would you choose? And keep in mind, living across the street from the United Center is not ideal.
Oh, so we're taking geography into account?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. You got to consider all the relevant factors.
Do you have one? I've got one. I've been thinking about this.
I do not have one.
All right. The 2015-2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, I want season tickets. I would get, because I think, you get season tickets, then you get first dibs on playoff tickets, finals tickets, like Game 6, beat the Warriors, come back. I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I don't know.
I would pick today
Yeah.
the Mavs and living across from the AAC for the 2022-23 season.
Okay.
You guys are living this out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Fuck. He made me not be able to pick the Bulls.
Yeah,
So
you can't pick the Bulls.
he's like asterisk, but picking the Bulls would be really stupid because it'd be.
I don't know, man. That 97-98 season would be pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean that's the best possible case scenario for our relocation here would be if it worked out like one of those Bulls dynasty years. So I have to go with one of those years.
So are you guys going to go to the playoff games, right? Is that how that works?
Absolutely. Yeah, we just got loaded up our tickets, and we have a preseason game on October 7th. So wow,
all right.
That's like how far away is that? 1, 2, 3,
like 5 weeks.
A month and a week.
6 weeks.
Yeah, about 5.5, 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
We literally we're at the industry summit, and then we come back, and then it's the preseason game.
Oof. Dude, the industry summit's gonna be fun as well. I think
That's coming up fast.
Yeah, that's coming up super fast. Dude, the summer is over. Okay. Oh, and Drake's PC says, I'd like to hear from Chris about his first week in Dallas. Collectors League says, is Dallas the mecca of trading cards? Just pump your brakes, guys. Still doing a lot of exploring. Still early in the game. Still collecting measurements here. Taking down some stats.
Wait.
So I'll get back to you guys.
We still have no furniture. Christina's desk is still like Hojin's monitor.
Can I show you your desk?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind
Look
of
at what Christina's using for a desk card.
Here we go. Oh my.
like
Like a box.
3 boxes put together.
And she just
Like-
through everything on the floor. That was not on the floor.
I knocked the overhead.
She just threw it all on the floor. Oh my god, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna go into the Matrix if I zoom into this? God, this might get really scary. Okay, let's not do that.
Can we please get an MTV Cribs episode right here, right now?
No. Nope, we have no furniture. You'd be looking at a bunch of floor.
Yeah, this is like the world's weirdest and best episode of MTV Cribs.
Like the Red Man episode? Okay. All right. Next question from Mostly 90s Basketball Cards. Mostly 90s Basketball Cards, MVP question asker, and a VIP, but the MVP. The MVP question asker tonight. Comparing Chris and Christina's Michael Jordan PC to Josh's Penny PC, the MJ PC is all serial numbered, whereas Josh has some extremely rare but not numbered inserts. Ultra Stars Gold, Upper Deck Game Jersey, Jambalaya. Chris and Christina, do you remember making the conscious shift, and what made you want to go entirely in the direction of serial numbered cards? I do remember that. I used to have a lot of MJ inserts. I traded them all in for serial numbered grails. I just felt like the serial numbered grails were more difficult cards to obtain. And the thrill of trying to get one, trumped the pride of owning those inserts for me. I think that.
Plus, you can't own everything, right?
No, you can't. Well, unless you're Nat.
Right, I was like, we can't. But.
Nat might actually own everything.
So you have to choose, like, would you rather have 50 inserts that are cool or 5 grails? You guys ended up choosing the 5 grail route.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
You traded your wall.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Remember the walls?
Oh, yeah, the big walls. Yeah.
You traded your wall for a mini box.
Shout out to the insert walls, man. I don't see enough of those anymore.
I miss those, dude. I miss all of that. That was so fun looking at all those walls.
The inserts are too expensive now. That's like, you can't make a wall anymore. All right. Damn, I'm just showing so much restraint. There's so many jokes I have that I'm not telling.
Dude, we need to get to hour 3 so we can fuck all these restraints.
Yeah, we're almost at hour 3. Just fucking say it.
All right, the Card Father 13. Oh, this is a long question. He says, "Can we?"
I have an answer for this.
Okay, good. He said, "Can we talk about the state of hobby content? First, Shay and Putnam's channel stopped produces content, which was like 2 years ago. So like this guy."
Oh, I don't have an answer for this. I thought this was the. Go ahead.
Now, Sports Card Therapist announces that the Bounce will stop creating content. Where is the guy to go and listen to quality hobby content? I listen to Luca Tigers LeBron's, Stacking Slabs, 1:37 p.m.'s Card Talk with Card Collector 2, and of course Card Ladder, parentheses. I've recently been watching all of the Cardboard Chronicles episodes, which are a magnificent time capsule, end parentheses. But it seems that the number of quality hobby channels are dwindling. Is this a sign of a larger issue, or am I just being over dramatic? And then Cardboard Junkie comes in and says, check out Cajun_Cardboard, loads of content covering multiple aspects of the hobby. And then Cardfather 13 wants to know, are there any other content producers not named that you'd like to give roses or flowers to?
Man, we always leave out people, so I always feel very.
That's why I'm not going to do it this time either, because there will be something.
They didn't mention Jake 90s B-ball cards. Was Brett Stacking Slabs in there? Cajun Cardboard is good. Also, can we, for the first time in a really long time, give ourselves a little pat on the back? We've been doing this fucking show every Friday for 2 years. I think we've missed 2 Fridays.
Pretty good. Pretty consistent. Wax Museum as well as 90s Beef.
Wax Museum. He's very consistent.
And we always go back. Look, there's something about the four shows, or the five of us, Christina, Josh, Jake, Kyle, and myself, because we all started in 2018 making content.
Yeah.
And I think, Josh, you and Jake came well before Kyle and I. Kyle and Christina and myself started in like December-ish of 2018. You guys have been going for months and months before that. But like, we were all doing this back in 2018, making regular hobby content when the hobby content landscape was a drought. Name a YouTube content creator. They were not making content when we were doing it back in 2018. And we've been consistently making content ever since. So, yeah, let's pat ourselves in the back. How about that?
Well, this show is consistent as fuck.
Yep, this show is consistently...
Except when daylight savings time happens and we all have to fucking try and figure out where Arizona falls on the fucking map. Arizona has daylight savings time. Therefore, everyone in the world has to suffer because Josh used to put his kids to bed on Arizona time, and therefore the entire hobby is
when
off.
you get to like the third therefore, all right.
Hey, to be clear, you guys are the one with daylight savings. We don't do anything. You're the one changing.
There you go. Arizona.
Yes.
Arizona keeps all of our time zone sensibilities sharp.
But we're in the bad part of it. It's going to get better in the winter.
Yes, it will.
Where we move up and we get earlier.
Yes, because that's much more earlier that's an hour earlier for everybody else.
Blinding 90s says, great job, gang. My wife hates all of you.
Nice.
Shout out to Blinding 90s wife.
Okay. So, all right. Cardboard Junkie says, with so much... so our answer basically to that question is like, we're just going to pat ourselves on the back. All right,
Dude, I'm fine.
Go to Card Ladder, click on the feed, and go see all of the hobby content that's out there that we've already curated for you, and listen to a couple episodes, find who you like, who talks about what you want to listen to, and go learn about new people.
Right on.
Do your own homework.
Go to Card Ladder's feed.
I love how all of our answers tonight are like, go to the sales history, go to the feed, do it yourself. Like, figure it out. You'll be fine.
That's right.
We literally gave you all the tools.
We had a new customer today, and they were asking me, like, where do I start? How do I learn stuff? I was like, just go to sales history and go nuts for like 2 days, and then report back to me, and we'll see where you're at.
Oh, that's great. Oh man. Okay. All right.
I feel like you're reading questions that we don't get to hear, and you just get to giggle.
Yeah. I earned that. I collect all these questions.
That's true. Dude, you should wait. Let's give a little pause and a shout out to Chris for being such a great moderator of this for all these years.
Oh, that's good. Yes, thank me for passing off the responsibility of coming up with topics to our friend.
That's the best way to make content, my friend.
I agree. It really is. It's like, it's efficient as hell. Because just let the people give us things that they want to talk about.
Guess what? We're the Oculus of the hobby. Just sit back. A good joke is always when you tie it back to some other earlier thing. There you go.
Yeah, I guess we are. We would just prefer it if we just didn't even have to say anything.
we just go to cardladder.com and type in the coupon code.
Dude, it does get to the point though where I'm like, we answered this question 82 different times, so maybe.
Dude, after 2 years, it's like we've seen every question many times.
I always enjoy the how are they going to ask the investment picks question tonight? Dude,
they've given up on that.
It's like, when it does happen now, it's like so rare now that when it happens, we're both like, wait, what? How'd this guy get in here?
Dude, yeah, there's been some really good attempts. But, yeah, but I'm still too lazy to even like, I'm too lazy to be like, oh, actually we answered this question in episode, X or whatever.
I love when you like don't lead up with it. You just like read the question. You just read it with a blank face, and I'm just like, wait a minute. Did you just ask an investment question?
I gotta.
Did you just ask a what inning are we in question without even like making a joke?
Oh, all right. Well, next question from Cardboard Junkie. With so much content and data out there, do you have a regular intake schedule that keeps you up to date with all things in the hobby? What are your must-sees?
Lameme James.
Lameme James is definitely must-see.
He's topical.
Yeah.
Posh's story.
Lameme James also, like, rides the line very nicely between being mean and being funny. If I were to make memes, like, they would just be ugly and mean. His memes are somehow gentle and funny, but still revealing some truth, as comedy ought to do.
I mean, Instagram, I guess, card letter feed. There's not really like one piece of content, right, that you can go to and be like, this is how I get my daily, New York Times kind of deal.
Right.
It's kind of spread out.
Yeah. Well, what's been regular intake for me for the last few years is not sports card related. It's, team related. My Mavericks podcast, my Panthers podcast, my NBA podcast, my NFL podcasts, my Nuggets podcasts now are new in the rotation for the last 6 months or so. Like my gambling podcasts, that's the regular intake for me. Hobby stuff, like, I don't know, man. We already just know it. If you're just on social media, if you have a network of friends, if you're going to the shows, like, you're just kind of plugged. You just hear it. I don't know. I've never tried to systematically break it down and say, what is the process? But there probably is some structure to it, right? Like, it involves going on Instagram. It involves checking eBay saved searches. It involves, actually, I never go on YouTube for content anymore. I don't know. It's mostly Instagram, I guess.
Are you in any auction fantasy leagues?
No. Nope. And
what if you don't get McCaffrey?
Bill Simmons has come back, and he has said one of his favorite lines, which is, if you're in a draft fantasy league, you're just a child, you're not playing real fantasy. Auctions are real fantasy. But nope, I'm just in one league. I'm in a snake draft league. And yeah.
Switch it to auction before it's too late.
I mean, I'd love to switch it to auction.
Because auction is the shit, and you will never have to regret anything. It's only your own fault if you don't get a player you like.
Well, look, let's there was a question about this. Here we go. From mostly 90s b-ball cards. Damn, this guy's sent in a lot of questions, man. This guy's PER is off the chain tonight. He said, if Chris is in a fantasy football auction draft with a $200 budget,
that's what reminded me of it.
Is there any price for Christian McCaffrey that makes him walk away empty-handed? And if you're in a draft with Chris, how high are you willing to shill Christian McCaffrey?
Oh, I'm going to like 180.
But what if I bow out?
Then I'll have Christian McCaffrey.
For $180.
Yeah, who cares? There's enough players in the NFL, and we don't have enough people in our league because we're only a 6-man or 5-man, 1-woman league, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've never done an auction before, so I don't know. If I go up to $190 and I have $10 left, have I just decimated my chances? So I would figure that I have. So.
But you get to root for McCaffrey all season.
Right.
On your fantasy team.
Yeah, I don't know. Tough question there, David, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm not in a fantasy league.
Well, you remember when you were like...
I mean, I'm not in an auction league, sorry.
When you asked me, you were like, hey, let me know when you do a draft. I liked your advice last year, blah, blah, blah. Here's my advice. Fuck all that. Do auction. It's the best.
Well, last year you gave me Jamar Chase, which was instrumental in my championship. Damn, Bill Simmons he dropped some. Like, Bill Simmons is very high in the Chiefs, which is confusing me a bit because he was making podcasts last year that was like, Mahomes is over, Mahomes was a fraud, and now he's like completely pivoted. So you gave me Jamar Chase. He's super high on the Chiefs wide receivers, which are MVS. Wide receiver number 1 is Juju. Sky Moore. And then there's one other guy that him and Peter Schrager were speaking highly of. Come on, man. Give me that nugget. Give me that Jamar Chase. I know you know.
I mean, not on the Chiefs, man. That's like dart throws. I honestly haven't done my in-depth fantasy football research yet, so don't come to me yet. I'm on St. Brown. I own him in 20 of 48 leagues.
You are not in 48 leagues.
Mecole Hardman is the one you're looking for.
David is in 48 leagues. Mecole Hardman? Okay.
Him and Juju, but Travis Kelce's really the only receiver on that team that you can totally take it to the bank, because the other guys, we're not sure who he's going to trust most now with Tyreek gone. It's going to be, we'll have to wait and see.
This reminds me, somebody messaged me the Great Rippin' List, and he's wanted us to correct the record. Antonio Brown caught a touchdown in a Super Bowl, the Buccaneers Super Bowl win, and for us to put some respect on Antonio Brown's name because he did that. So
what do you mean? Did I say he didn't?
We were saying that he didn't have a big role in the Bucs Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, come on though. He wasn't a big super instrumental player to get them to that point. He did score in the Super Bowl. That's different than him winning with the Steelers would have been much more, important to him in his career than kind of globbing onto Brady at the end and winning all of them.
That is fair. Okay, all right. Spurs Cards 21 wants us to talk about the 1984 Star 101 Jordan PSA 9 on Golden. What value do you think it will go for? And let me just tell you guys a little something about this card. This card obviously was recently graded. I'm going to pull up a picture of it right here. This card was recently graded. It's currently at $216,000 with buyer's premium. Now, here's the story that I want to tell you guys about this card. If you had to guess the profession of the person who graded the first PSA 9 Star Jordan and then immediately sent it to auction, what industry do you think they work in? Yeah, this guy is a dentist. Now look, this guy also is.
He got a 9, and he was complaining about everything.
And he had some issues. He had some constructive criticism. So, look, when I tell you guys that dentists run this hobby, along with kids, and that they are a power center not to be messed with, I'm putting myself at risk when I say these things. But somebody has to speak out about it. This PSA 9 Jordan belongs to a dentist, and that's it. I just felt like the hobby needs to know that. And that, look, is it any coincidence that Colgate was one of the presenting sponsors at the Burbank Card Show? These dentists are trying to tell us what's going on.
It's going to go over $300K, and I'm telling you now.
Is that a decent
you heard it here.
What do you think, 300?
You heard it here third. These star cards are going to come down in value. Just steer clear, folks. Good luck buying these cards. If the pops are super low, the pop will not be low like this forever. The PSA 9 will be low, obviously. It's not, it's a pop 1. It won't be a pop 1 forever, but it's not gonna be a pop 50 or anything like that. But still, be careful with these because they're being graded more now than ever. They weren't graded for years. Now they're starting to. So we're gonna see this pop up. People always overpay for the first of something. We've seen it over and over and over. Every time there's a new release, people pay crazy money for these first ones that hit eBay. First PSA 10 of a Cade Cunningham Prism Silver is the highest one, and then it dips. Just be careful.
So I made this story post the other day. All right, so this is the Dennis Rodman Ultra Stars Gold.
Thank you. Yes, you're about to prove my point.
The date is April 28th, 2022. It sold for $18,000. All right, and if you notice, Pop 1. It was a Pop 1 at the time, sold for $18,000. All of a sudden, by August 3rd, it's a Pop 2, and it sells for half off, $9,600. You know, that's really what can happen when a card goes from a Pop 1 to a Pop 2.
And that's like a pretty rare occurrence, like something like that. Whereas I know the star is going to go up because it's just been starting to be graded. Like this is an even more obvious case, you know?
Yep, definitely. Also, the owner of that star PSA 9 is a great Jordan collector who's had a lot of great cards come and go through his possession. And we mean no harm to the dentist profession. All right.
We should get a dentist to sponsor this fucking show.
They would love that. They would all go into their group chats and laugh. Yeah. They would all go in their group chats and laugh and say, look, even these guys, we have conquered.
Fucking sellouts.
Even these guys bow before the ultimate tooth.
Hey, I miss the Shea and Putnam show. Let's bring that one back.
Yeah, let's bring that one back.
We didn't address that. Those guys had 4 episodes, and I missed that show.
Yeah, it was a fun show. We appeared on that show.
We did. You're right, we did, and Shea was an hour late.
Hey, look, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Putnam is taking some time off from content creation, although he made a story the other day that said hi, so...
He's coming back.
He's on the comeback. And Shea, I mean, look, Shea makes all types of content, so you should be eating your heart.
Those guys, I mean, I'm excited for Putnam to come back. I think he makes great content.
Yep. Welcome back, Putnam. All right. The Cardfather 13 says, whatever happened to Ken Golden's show on Netflix? Is that show still coming out, or did it get canceled?
I have an answer for this.
Nice.
I didn't even tell you this.
How dare you?
I tell you everything, and I did not tell you this.
Oh, let me hold on to my butt.
You better hold on to all your butts. Ken Golden texted me. He said that they finished filming 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
The show is in post-production, and they already are starting to plan out season 2.
What?
He does not. He says they can't say. He might know the release date, or he might not. They can't say. But they're in post-production, so I would assume, we're a few months out, given that they've stopped filming 2 weeks ago. Just kind of guessing. But it is still a go.
Nice. Yeah, I'd care a lot more if we actually were on that show.
Well, maybe it's because I don't yell, let's fucking go enough.
Maybe it's because our breaking style just doesn't quite work.
Maybe because I don't care about my hair enough.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
That's definitely the one.
I get, nice haircuts, and I'm still not on that show, so that's not what it is.
Can't be the hair. I have no hair, so it definitely can't be the hair.
We've got all types of hair on this show, and we still aren't getting. We've got all mixes.
We have a lot of representation for the different hairstyles.
We got long hair, we got no hair, we got short hair.
No, I'm sure that show. I'm sure that show is going to be great. Yeah. And look, man.
Congratulations, Ken and team.
If that show does well, it's a good thing for the hobby, I think.
Dude, who doesn't want to watch hobby content on Netflix? Who would not want to watch that? We're gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing. High quality. Netflix is amazing. Brings up content.
I might request live reactions after each episode from you guys.
From us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I would have been great in this scene.
Dude.
We have not been asked to be in season 2 either.
Dude,
season 2's already filming, right?
Dude, I can't even get a fucking dinner invite. You think I'm gonna get invited to be on a show?
Yeah, I was very hungry that night too.
Yeah, I saw him the next.
Your flip-flops were ready to go.
I I would have put on dirty old sneakers.
Oh. Hold up.
I had clean, brand new white sneakers for Hoj just in case. Last minute.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I literally remember talking to you about that, Christina, where you're like, I bought him new shoes because he's a child and I had to.
But that was all in vain.
Yep.
You just had to like look at them. They just sat in your hotel?
Well, so did I, so.
True.
Basketball game really kicked your ass.
I played my first Dallas pickup game this week, too.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, it was 2-on-2s, just a spontaneous gathering of the men who happened to be on the court together. But something weird happened. I had my ball, which has decent bounce. I think we played a pickup game with it. It's a decent ball, indoor-outdoor ball.
Yeah.
Another kid there in his ball, also a decent, nice Wilson leatherbound. The other two guys had a ball that was like white and blue Maverick style, just kind of like a generic plasticky ball. And not only that, but it was partially deflated. And so like we line up all the balls and they're like, let's use this one. And they pick up their shitty ball. And it's like, I'm like, wait a minute, like, here, why don't you try my ball? Like, this ball actually has air in it. And they're like, nah, like, they're like, this ball is good. We use this ball a lot. And so I'm like, okay, we can use this ball a lot. And then I remember as we're playing, I'm trying to dribble the ball, and it's like, it's barely dribbling. And I remember, I was like, when these guys were warming up, one of them even said to the other, he was like, hey, is this ball waterlogged? Because, like, this ball feels really heavy to me right now. So deflated blue and white Mavericks plastic ball that we end up playing in with two perfectly good balls just sitting on the sideline. It was a travesty to Wilson. It was a travesty to Spalding.
Tom Hanks.
Tom fucking Hanks. This was it was one of the more bizarre ball scenarios I've ever been in. But nonetheless, went 1-1. Lost the first game, switched up the teams, won the second game, and I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that stupid deflated ball. So
did you get the old heart rate going? Get some exercise? Get some.
Dude, the one kid who must have been in the best shape of all of us. He was probably 15 or 16. About 3/4 of the way through game 2, he just goes, "Oh my God, my heart is beating so fast right now. I have to stop." And I was like, "Bro, my heart is beating so fast since like second 2 of game 1. Get with it, bro."
You're like, come on, kid.
Yeah, finish this damn game. We'll get an ambulance here if we need to, but we are finishing this game.
That's hilarious.
All right. Let's go.
I need to play some more pickup now. I was very excited after that national game. I need to play some more.
Man, pickup basketball is the best. There is a court that's 2 blocks, a 2-minute walk probably from here, maybe like a 3.
Oh, yeah.
It is so close. And
it's because every time I find a new place for us to live, I always make sure there's basketball courts.
Christina did strategically place us.
And Chipotle?
And there's a Chipotle in walking distance. Crossover trade night at the next Dallas show. That sounds pretty good, but how about a crossover 3v3 tournament day at the next Dallas card show? So
let's go.
What were my stats? I was about 1 for 12 from 3. And by the way, there was no 3-point line. That was another thing that was weird. They're like, let's play 2s and 1s. I'm like, how are we gonna play 2s and 1s? There's no 3-point line on this court. They were like, if you're in the area, I was
what?
I was like, all right. I guess that's how we're doing it.
Making it rain.
Yeah, I was 1 of 12. I was awful from deep, but I just, I decided, okay, I'm going to eventually, I made my way closer to the basket.
You're like, no more of these ones. Got to get in close. That's because there was no 3-point line. Your brain just couldn't.
And I was shooting a waterlogged, deflated, plastic, white and blue, old-ass Mavericks basketball.
I would have just refused to play unless we used my ball in that case.
You know, I could have pulled that off. I could, but it was my first day on this court. You know, who am I?
Yeah.
I'm the new guy on the block, you know. What
Yeah,
what shot am I going to call?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Rock Boys Cards says, let's discuss the lack of card sale reporting. This question got my heartbeat elevated as well. Let's discuss the lack of card sale reporting from new selling platforms like Whatnot and Loop. We see regular sales of four-figure cards without reporting of the sales. It's a true auction format, and it should be reported. End rant. I'll hang up now and listen. There's nothing to listen to. You nailed it. And it would be great if these platforms worked out a way to publish their sales similar to the way eBay does with its sold and completed. Excuse me. So what do you think? Anything else?
I mean, maybe we should be proactive about this and see if they can produce them with us.
We have, but it was a while ago. But we've talked to, we won't name which entity, but we've talked to some of them who are in the live auction space. And the difficulty that they pointed out is that there's really no system in place for how they name the items. So like, if they were to publish a sold and completed, they don't currently require their sellers to like have specific searchable names of things, because why would you need to search it?
It could be like auction 1 sold for $1,000, and there's no card data or like product data for that auction.
Yep. All right, Marino212 says, why does Christina feel the need to troll me with a massive wax display? Fair question.
You know what we should do? I will open all of it and do my monotone voice.
I don't know. Let's try you out. We'll give you like one box. Let's see if the audience.
No. Let's do the whole thing. Let's commit now. We'll get it in writing.
We'll shoot the pilot. And we'll see if we're gonna make this.
And then I can pitch that to executives.
John, I'll think about inviting you to dinner, and then I'll think about if you should be on the show.
Fair.
The good thing about my breaking style is that it's unique. It's very, very unique.
All right, Stacking Gem says, if a Michael Jordan 1997 PMG green pops up on Golden in today's market, do you think it will be the most expensive basketball card ever sold? If so, how much? $5 million?
Nope.
Okay.
It would be, dude, we have this card and card ladder with an algorithm predicted price of $1.7 million.
Yep, that we do.
That card sold at a very public auction on Heritage not too long ago for $900,000.
Yep.
So I'm just using reality here. It would obviously sell for a ton, but I do not think it would crack $5 million.
There you go. Okay, Grail Card Quest says, do you think football cards and fantasy football can eventually morph into an activity that's based on the cards that you own? Maybe you submit cards to a vault, and then the league allows you to start players from your vault, and maybe card values can translate into a points multiplier on top of the point system.
I've heard this idea before, and I've even heard of like someone making this a thing. I don't understand it at all. Like, what? Like, why would I make it more difficult by introducing a physical? Like, fantasy football is great on its own. Why would I make it more bad?
Right. If you want to have wins and losses based on your ability to predict sports outcomes in a really, zero-sum style format, fantasy football, daily fantasy, they already exist, and you cut out the need for a sports card. You just say, hey, we're going to throw all our money into a big pot, and then we're going to divvy it up to the winner like this. And then it seems to work quite well. Collecting cards is about more than just on one given Sunday, moving the needle on that. There's so many other factors: legacy, collectability, desirability of the card, the set. I don't want to wash over those things or lose those subtleties and those nuances. But to Grail Card Quest's credit, I see where you're coming from. It's a clever idea. It's well thought out, but I don't really think fantasy and cards work together in that direct of a fashion. I think they do work together. I think fantasy can make players more collectible, but not in a one-to-one of like, oh, if I have a good week, then my card price goes up 10%. I think it's a little more subtle than that.
Yeah. Plus, I just think like we're just like way overthinking what card collecting is. It's very, very simple. It's very like, caveman like. You're just literally like looking at a card, you want to buy it because it's cool looking. You have some connection to the player, and you want to feel some extra connection through the means of like buying their cards, and you like looking at it. It's just really not more complicated than that. And try and connect it to like, fancy technologies and fantasy football and statistics. It just I like what you said. I appreciate the question. I get where they're going with it. I just think we're overthinking it.
Boom. Card Collecting 82 says, if you could be a crypto dick butt, which crypto dick butt would you be?
Number 484. No, number 69.
Oh, duh. Okay. All right. Yeah. You got it right on your second try. All right.
Would it be 31?
Why would it be 31?
Dick butt.
Wow. All right.
Sorry.
No, thank you. I'm so glad you did that.
I'm glad we stopped the show for that.
Okay. We're down to not so many questions left.
Nice.
Jonathan Taylor card says, could you please talk about Jonathan Taylor again? No, I'm just joking. He said, what do you guys think of custom cards?
Oh. I'm really against them, but I know people like them, and in the right context, I think they can be fun, and it's really about like the context and the intent. If you're trying to like confuse people and, commit fraud, frankly, like selling them to them like they're real, then that's an issue. If you make it very apparent this is custom and you have an account where you make custom cards for people on request and they keep those for themselves, it could be fun.
Yeah, that's nicely summed up there. I have nothing to add to that.
Have you ever owned one or cared about owning one?
We owned several.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. Like, there's different levels to quote custom cards.
Oh, here we go.
There is, like Josh was saying, like the cards that are like Michael Jordan prisms, or Michael Scott PMG, versus artist cards, using cards to make art from. So I just think there's a different level to that, and we own quite a few art custom cards. Like,
did you say Michael Scott PMG?
Yes, I've seen this before.
Well, like my, like the LeBron ones that Nick made, where like my 6 of 500. I love that card. Like that, but that's just for me. It's like my own personal thing that I don't necessarily need to feel the need to post about.
It says promo, it says card ladder on it, and like the back is a promo card. Like, it's very obvious. Like,
oh, the chili. Who's making these?
Look at this. Look, he even put a different photo on the back. That's sick.
I don't know a lot about copyright law, but
I think a few copyrights are being violated. These are by Toki cards. Cards. Or Taki, maybe.
I mean, it's cool if you could request, make a request to him of hey, can you make this card that never will and never would exist? Mm-hmm. Just for me,
No, I don't want that. Don't mix my world. Sometimes I want things separate.
You want to watch your Office on TV and your cards in cards, right?
Yes. Sometimes we leave well enough alone. We actually own a card killer Michael Jordan 1 of 1.
His first Michael Jordan, yeah.
His first Michael Jordan 1 of 1. I think there's something neat about the. I think there's something neat about the intersection of art and cards. Sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence. But
You take long fucking pauses, but
but I don't think the hobby has mastered that intersection yet. I think it's done some really cool things, but we haven't quite nailed it yet.
I just want to say we also own a Currency Project original.
We do own a Currency Project original as well. Yep.
And Third Dance Art. As well as a Donnie B.
All right. And Donnie B. Yeah, we've got some cool custom stuff for sure. All right, how about one more question? Late 90s b-ball. Original Terminator trilogy or Back to the Future trilogy?
I don't think I've seen either.
Terminator or Back to the Future?
Back to the Future.
I've seen the original Back to the Future. That's a great movie.
I've only ever seen the first Terminator, and it was a very long time ago.
Who is the Biff of the hobby?
Without offending anybody, that's gonna be tough.
That's gonna offend somebody. All right, look, we're not really in the business of offending people on this show, so we'll just hang on.
Have you watched this episode?
Who is the Christopher Lloyd character? Doc. What's his name?
Doc, yeah.
Who is
You're making this.
Doc Brown. Who's the Doc Brown of the hobby? Why is that hard? That should be a compliment.
I know. I don't know. I'm not intimate enough with this movie to like make these calls. Like Office, sure. This, nothing. I have no idea.
Fair. Hey, look. I mean, sometimes saying I don't know is the hardest answer, but it's the best answer.
There's only one true doctor in this hobby, and that would be Dr. James Beckett.
Oh, there you go.
And Dr. James Beckett.
There are a lot of doctors in this hobby, and there's a lot of DMDs, which I.
Is a dentist a doctor?
A dentist is a DMD. A DMD. What does that stand for?
He has a doctorate in.
I have a doctorate, so how about that?
Yeah.
How about that? How about we start calling me Dr. Shill?
Dr. Shilhoj.
DMD dentist. What does that stand for? Doctor of Medicine and Dentistry. But that's like the fancy way, because really they're called DDSs, Doctor of Dental Surgery. But like that has like lost, like people associate that with dentists, so they go with DMD because it sounds fancier. It has the MD in it. Similar to how JD stands for Juris Doctor, but nobody really thinks a lawyer is a doctor. So JD doesn't get associated with being a doctor because you're just a lowly lawyer. But dentist is even lower.
There's a meme where it's like professor, like PhDs are like, I am also a doctor. And an MD is like, no, you're not. And then there's, on the other side of the meme, it's like, and then you have lawyers who are just like, I have a doctorate, but I'm not a doctor.
Lawyers have their own stupid phrase, Esquire.
Have you watched Better Call Saul yet?
Nope.
Oh, you should. He called himself James McGill Esquire.
Damn. Yeah, his last name is McGill as well, isn't it?
Dude, that show is fucking amazing. We're watching it right now.
How far are you?
I've already seen it twice through. I'm watching it with Jessica. She's never seen it.
Damn. Okay. All right. Well, that's as strong of an endorsement as can possibly be given.
Well, it's...
Didn't it just end?
Yeah, it just ended. Yep.
So how did he watch it twice all the way through?
This man has been doing a lot of watching.
How indeed.
All right. Damn. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, look, my dad says to wait. He says, give it like a few episodes. Don't let the first few episodes of season 1 discourage you. He says, get through the first few episodes and it really starts picking up.
For all shows or for this show?
For this show in particular.
Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. It's like, I don't have to sit here and sell that show to you. It's incredible. It's like award winning.
Sell this show to me, Josh.
It's about lawyers.
Why should I watch Better Call Saul? Is it better or worse than Breaking Bad?
Well, dude, you better watch your mouth over there. Is it better, dude? But Breaking Bad is like the highest rated IMDb show ever. So like, first of all, saying that it's worse than Breaking Bad, not too shabby. But I think it's about the same. It's the same universe, same creators, same characters. So I would say it's equal.
Well, I'm glad to see that we're back to using statistics to verify what the best shows of all time are, because that validates my Frasier takes.
IMDb scores are very important to me, very near and dear.
Dude, I respect that. All right, look, I'm sold. Plus, South is shilling for the show in the comments as well.
Yeah, he likes the show. He didn't like the way that it went in the ending, but I did, so.
Okay. All right, well, look, 2.5 hours of crossover goodness in the books.
Episode number. We should have started counting the episodes. This is like episode like 110 or something? 100.
Yeah, sure. We're definitely in the 3 digits. Can't hold a candle to the Luka Tigers and LeBrons, though. You guess what episode number they're on?
374.
781.
Oh my god. That's embarrassing. I was way off. Oh, look at that. Andrew Goldberg joined as you said that. They're on episode 781.
They are on 781, and we would be on like 110 to 115 if we were counting.
Ooh. What about airtime, like hours?
Ooh, well, I think they would still have us beat. They do about an hour a day, every day.
Do they really? Wow.
Yeah, but we do have the occasional 4-hour marathons.
Yeah, like, we've been cutting those short lately. We haven't been doing those.
Those could start to add up then.
It's because of these damn time zones,
These damn time zones. This damn sun and moon. All right, well, that's going to do it. It's been a great 2.5 hours of a crossover. Oh, can you help me name this one? I didn't even think about a name.
I was thinking when we went through this whole bathroom and slabs thing was probably the one that stuck out to me. So
slabs in the
some
toilet.
sort of like toilet emoji or like a poop emoji, one of those. Or the fire emoji.
Just a fire emoji?
I mean,
see, look, this has pissed Nick off that we've completely discarded taking seriously our show naming because...
What? Hold on a second. We've taken it dead serious.
Because he wants a clickable YouTube title for when he uploads the show.
Oh, so he's like, you guys are making me do all the work kind of thing.
Yes. He's like, what? He's like, I'm not gonna upload a show to YouTube called like My Panda or something.
He's like, you fucking guys make me listen to the whole episode and come up with a title. Thanks. He says it doesn't piss him off.
Slabs on a porcelain throne. Perfect.
I think that's a good one. I like that one. Slabs on a porcelain throne. That's the winner. Can you emoji that as much as possible?
There's not a lot of room for emojis on here. Maybe just like one toilet at the end.
No, you could do slabs on it and then like a gold square and then toilet emoji.
I have to use the phrase porcelain throne.
That's true.
That phrase itself has to be used. And then I could put a gold emoji and then a toilet.
It's like when Nick posted those 2 sick gold DKs.
Yeah.
You were like, I thought it was orange, and he posted the like little gold squares, and I laughed at that.
Yep. I did think those were oranges, but those were much nicer.
Isn't I don't know a lot about like TikTok culture and like young people social media, but isn't like the one emoji like the thing? Like having your caption be like very short, very, very short, lowercase emoji. Isn't that kind of the thing?
I thought we invented that.
I don't think so.
Caden Card says, don't forget to wash your hands. Actually, sir.
No, stop. You're disgusting.
All right. Just think about your...
No, finish the thought. I like where this is headed. Do it.
Look, Just think about your immune system, man. Think about your immune system.
Oh, so you're saying, like, don't wash your hands.
Look, I was told to stop. I just like to take the contrarian point on things, and sometimes it goes a little too far.
Well, let me say this. If you go number 2, absolutely you have to wash your hands.
Yep. The real question
Number 1?
is, do you...
It's up for debate.
The real question is, do you also wash before?
No, that's weird. Nope.
Depends where you've been.
Yeah, I know. Look, you're bringing all the dirt of the world into a region.
Here's the thing. We got to end here because this is getting weird. I do not flush number 1s ever because I like the planet and I'm trying to save water. So if you're at my house and you see a number 1, don't be alarmed.
Well, look, that's why it's good we have 2 bathrooms here. So when you visit, you can have your number 1 sanctuary. Yep, that's great. That's a great tip for the hobby. Look,
It's not a tip for the hobby. That's a tip for Mother Earth. I love Mother Earth.
oh, why not just get like a bucket going or something like that?
I don't know. This is the part where we definitely end the show and you put a toilet emoji and we'd be done with this.
Or you could be nourishing a bush. There are droughts in Arizona.
Did you hear what Sal said?
Man, Larry might be on board with all this. All right.
He might be like, you know what? I like that you think about the planet. I like this.
Even though we've been on a steady trickle of like losing 1 or 2 people every few minutes.
I like steady trickle. Very nice. A steady stream. Very nice.
10 people just fell off as soon as we pivoted into the toilet content. We are really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I think it's 1, let it mellow. 2, flush it down. What is that one? There's a phrase for that.
I've never heard of this before. I'm gonna have to do my homework on this.
I think it's like, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. There you go.
Dude, this is really a thing. This is really a thing.
I'm trying to come up with a really funny caption. I'm like frantically trying to come up with the best caption. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
If it's number 1, let it have fun. If it's number 2, let it do what it do.
Flush it.
Hey, look. Maybe we shouldn't be flushing 2s either.
Nah, come on.
All right, this is over. This show is over.
Christine's just over there like shaking her head like, Jesus.
We'll see you guys next week.
A lot has changed since Card Ladder began. We started with 500 cards in our database, and now we have over 3 million cards and over 30 million sales.
For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
With Card Ladder's sales history feature, we have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history, and you can add a card to your collection with just 1 click.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Plus, every card, no matter the last time it sold, has an estimated value that we calculated using our state-of-the-art player indexes. Unlike other apps, when you see Card Ladder's verified checkmark, that means a researcher personally vetted each and every sale.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors.
Know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder 2.0, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data.
We know what it takes to be reaching the top.
Card Ladder 2.0.